All right, man, let the sweating begin. And as soon as I say that, he starts pouring the tea, right?
Okay.
I said, let the sweating begin, and he started pouring the tea.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay.
I don't know, whatever y'all told him to make.
I told him Earl Grey. I said.
Called you guys up and asked you what you want, so.
Yeah.
I think yesterday you wanted the funky monkey tea.
I picked that one. Today I didn't ask us. Yeah. Today. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Earl Grey, golden monkey, what's the problem, man?
All that matters is this guy has a double shot at Virginia.
That did not help out at all, man.
Yeah.
All right, we're going now. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Because it's picking it up from every phone. It just keeps repeating and repeating. All right, man. So we're on chapter 183. قال الإمام البخاري رحمه الله تعالى باب إصلاح ذات البين. So bab إصلاح. إصلاح it comes from the word أصلح يصلح إصلاحا. It means to reconcile and bring reconciliation between the people. It's the opposite of أفسد يفسد إفسادا. All right, which means to cause corruption in the land. All right. It's like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he said to the people, لا تفسدوا في الأرض قالوا إنما نحن إيش مصلحون على إنهم هم المفسدون ولكن لا يشعرون. So when he said that, he said, commanded them not to cause corruption in the land. They said, لا إنما نحن مصلحون. We're the مصلحون. So لا على إنهم هم المفسدون ولكن لا يشعرون. They are the people of Asad. They're the ones who cause corruption in the lands, but they don't understand. And anything that the people call to that's outside of the Quran and the Sunnah, outside of Tawheed, is corruption. It's corruption. If you're not calling to the Quran and the Sunnah, you're not calling to something that we have from this deen, then you're calling the people to fasad. Calling the people to fasad. وَلَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ بَعْدَ إِصْلَاحِهَا. What is the meaning of this ayah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the people to what? Don't cause corruption after there's been reconciliation on the earth. What did the ulama say about this ayah? What? Huh? After the earth has been returned to Tawheed and the legislation has been sent down by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the people, they were in Jahiliyyah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and لِيُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ. All right, مَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْهِمْ. All right. So to make clear to the people what has been sent down to them. And then once it's been made clear, Tawheed has been established, Quran, the legislation of the Quran and the legislation of the Sunnah has been established, then don't لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ بَعْدَ إِصْلَاحِهَا. Now the earth has become what? It's become rectified, it's become pure. Like the laws of Allah now have been established in the land, and now you go and what? Commit shirk, commit bid'ah, commit all type of atrocities, and now you're causing fasad in the land after everything has been made correct. So babu islah. All right, so that's islah. Dhati al-bayn. Dhat al-bayn and dhat al-bayn al-nas. That means don't cause like we should be bringing about reconciliation between the people, not the opposite, not causing corruption and firqa and the people to become divided. That we should, whenever we see the people having problems, we shouldn't just take a side and it'd be like us against you. If we know, all right, you're a believer, he's a believer, and you're having problems, then we should bring about reconciliation between the people. So that al-bayn huna, that al-bayn an-nas. من المحبة والعداوة, from amongst love and enmity, that we should be people that come together to try to bring the people back together, and we should not be dividing the people. Kufr divides the people, bid'ah divides the people, shirk divides the people, and disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala divides the people. And the only thing that will bring the people back together is to come together on Tawheed, come together on the Quran and Sunnah, come together on obedience to Allah. There's no other way. And you can sit here and try to, follow these kuffar and believe all the stuff that you want to believe, but there's no other way to bring about any type of real reconciliation between the people, except for that, through Tawheed. So calling the people back to the Sunnah and calling the people to Tawheed, that is bringing islah between the people. And those are the real muslihun. All right, so hadith number 391. حدثنا صدقة قال حدثنا أبو معاوية عن الأعمش عن عمرو بن مرة عن سالم بن أبي الجعد عن أم الدرداء عن أبي درداء رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ألا أنبئكم بدرجة أفضل من الصلاة والصيام والصدقة قالوا بلى قال صلاح ذات البين وفساد ذات البين هي الحالقة. All right, so Abu Darda radiallahu anhu, he reported that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah is used in the beginning of speech in Arabic for like a tanbih, to let the person know like what I'm about to say, pay attention to. All right, so you'll see this a lot where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he starts off the speech with ala ukhbirukum, ala unabbi'ukum, shall I not inform you, should I not tell you, should I, and this is to get the people's what? To get their attention, because if you just start off right away asking a question, a lot of the people, they might not have been paying attention. So what do they say? Huh? Can you repeat the question again? But if you start off with something like this, like a statement like this, shall I not inform you what is the best of the actions? What is better than this and this? And the people are going to be now they're like, yeah, tell us. Now you see you've gotten their attention. So this is one of the, so much that we can learn from reading from the Sunnah. It's more than just, see, the people, they focus on just legislation. Obviously there's the legislation, there's the character, the manners, but also look at the manner of speaking, the manner of teaching, the manner of getting people's how to make sure that they grasp the issue and it's the best manner. And we learn this all from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So even the methodologies of teaching, because obviously the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the best teacher. There's no, all this teacher of the year garbage. No, he was the teacher of the what? Of creation. He's got, he's the best teacher of all creation. The best of all mankind. And he sent, and alhamdulillah, it's such a ni'mah that we have this. What is that? Some insect. We have the Sunnah that we can go back and read through. We don't, we don't have to be like the Jews and Christians and sit here and just make stuff up. We have it. We have, mashallah, the teaching of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he said, "Ala unabbi'ukum, shall I not inform you? Bi darajatin, with a level, because daraja, it means what? Like a level or rank, right? Up in ranks and up in levels. Bi darajatin afdala, afdala, it means better min as-salat. So he's saying this is better than, I'm going to inform you of something that if you do this, this is better than praying, better than fasting, and better than what? Giving charity. And what's sadaqah? Qalu bala. Why did they say bala and they didn't say na'am? Why? Because it's a negative question, right? And if you respond to a negative question with yes, like if I say, shall I not inform you? And you say yes. Okay. Yes, you shall not inform us. You understand? So bala is to show the opposite, yes. I guess what they used to say in English, what did they used to say? Nay. Nay, not yes. Back in the old days, whenever they used to agree, they say a or nay. But nay is used for a negative question, to answer a negative question in the affirmative. We want you to what? Yes, we want you to do this. But if you just say yes, then you're saying, yes, we don't want you Yes, you shouldn't. Because he said, ala. La is what? Nafia. The alif here, the hamza, is for the su'al, the question. Allah, shall I not inform you? And you say, yes, you shall not inform us. So you say, bala. All right. All right, so qalu bala. Bala. Qala salahu that al-bayn. So he said, bringing about reconciliation between the people. And then he said, wa fasadu that al-bayn hiya al-haliqah. And he said, and corrupting what's between the people, causing this type of corruption, causing this division, causing these problems between the people. He al-haliqah. Al-haliqah, it means al-qati'ah. Because the halaqa sha'r, qata'. Al-haliqah. So you say what? Tahliq sha'rak. You cut your hair. All right, so al-haliqah, it means it cuts off all the connections between the people. When you cause this fasad between the people, you cut everything, because a lot of the times when you cause this type of corruption to the point where people get really emotional and speak their minds during their emotions, what happens? There's no reconciliation after that. It's over. It's done. And even if the people do come back together, they don't come back together full of trust, right? So that's the evil of causing all this type of dissension amongst the people and causing corruption and spreading lies and doing all this type of thing. Because a facade, it can be through different manners, obviously. A lot of the times it's through what? And people spreading rumors, spreading lies, and spreading things. It's just to instigate problems between people, So Allah musta'an, may Allah destroy anybody that instigates between the believers. May Allah destroy them, including the chief instigator. What? We got it. All right. So this hadith is sahih. This hadith is sahih. And it shows you exactly what we should always be doing. And this is the thing, man, because a lot of the times people, they don't bring about reconciliation because of that zealousness of jahiliyyah. It overcomes the people. So they, again, we're out for the truth. We're not out to prove ourselves right. We're not out to support our homeboys. Yeah, no, we're not about that. If you have a friend who's an oppressor, he's an oppressor. We don't take the sides of oppressors, even if it's our own father, our mother. We don't take their sides as oppressors. We don't support them in their oppression. We learn our religion from the Salaf. Salaf, who used to warn against who? Their own children. Abu Dawood, rahimahullah. Imam Abu Dawood. You know him, right? Sunnah Abi Dawood. He said, don't take knowledge from my son. Don't take knowledge from my son. Now, not that his son was wrong. His son is a very righteous person. He's a very righteous person. But he didn't think that he had the what? The understanding, the correct understanding for the people to come to him and take knowledge from him. He said, don't take knowledge from my son at that time. But his son, alhamdulillah, developed later, and he was the person that people went to for knowledge. But I mean, look at this. And you have, like, this is amongst the Salaf, you're going to find a lot of stories like this. People warning against their fathers, people warning against their own children, or they say, don't take knowledge from this person. And it's his father, or it's his son, or, so, and this is the reality, because the people are after the truth. They're not after, like, oh, that's my homeboy. And forget all that garbage. You left all that stuff in the streets. If you haven't matured past street life, then you're a fool. You're a fool. If you're still up like 30, 40 years old, you're a Muslim, Allah is giving you Islam, and you're still talking all this homeboy garbage, you're an idiot. You're a complete buffoon. And wallahi, there's no benefit for you in this life until you make tawbah and change your life around. But we have people like that. And we suffer from the stupidity of people like this on a daily basis. Especially if you mix around in a lot of the masajid a lot. You're going to see, oh my God. So, this trying to protect, and it's not just amongst Americans. This is amongst everybody. You go and you find, like, look at a lot of the scandals that happened in Texas with that one situation with that one American brother that was the imam. His name was Nick, I think his name, right? Y'all know about that issue where it's like this one dude was like kind of like grabbing on the boys, doing some funky business with the boys, and he spoke out about it. And they covered it up. They sent him to Pakistan and got him out of there. It covered the whole situation up and fired the imam for speaking out.
Yeah.
That's that. This is my homeboy mentality. And that's garbage. That's jahiliyyah. That has no place in Islam. Again, I mean, we don't protect oppressors, especially people who oppress our children. I mean, come on, man. Now, somebody oppresses the children. Look at this, man. I don't condone violence, but hey, I'm not gonna say nothing if I see it in front of me, like you beating the mess out of a dude, breaking his jaw and breaking every single bone in his body of a dude that's messing around with children. I don't. Like I said, I don't believe this. We don't have the authority to go out and do that type of stuff. But if it happens in front of me, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything. You know, any type of oppression that gets brought against the Muslims, nah, man. Whatever happens to you, happens to you. We won't go out and tell the people, hey, be violent. But if it happens, we're definitely gonna be pleased that it happened to them. We're definitely be pleased, especially somebody that messes with our children and messes with our women, messes with the weak people are from amongst us. Are you coming to class after Malik or what? That's the best comment that we've had all night. Give them to me. Oh no, man. Abdul Malik's tried and tested, so we don't even have to put that as a comment. We already know. We know one person in this community that will stand up and not allow that garbage to happen. If there's one person in this community that would do it, it's Abdul Malik. It's Abdul Malik. And if there's like 15, 20, 30 people that will shut up while that stuff is going on, that's everybody else. Everybody else. So, nah, man, Allahumma musta'an. Whoa, I wish I could tell y'all some stories, but but boy, oh boy, oh boy. But that type of stuff, nah, man, that stuff never gets covered up. Any type of criminal behavior, any type of corruption that's caused between us, we do not cover that stuff up. We don't cover it up. Oh, he's got some issues right now, so he's not gonna be able to make it to class tonight. I told you, man, he'll get here when he can get here, man. But he's dealing with some serious stuff. Like the people that he's got to deal with over in that house, man. Allah make it easy on him. Huh?
Some of his inmates.
Yeah. And one of them's on loco mode right now. All right. So 392. حدثنا موسى قال حدثنا عباد ابن العوام قال أخبرنا سفيان Sufyan ibn al-Husayn. All right, so that's not. I didn't read the last part. I was like, what is that? Sufyan thought. I was like, no, it's Sufyan ibn al-Husayn. عن الحكم عن مجاهد عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما في قوله تعالى فاتقوا الله وأصلحوا ذات بينكم قال هذا تحريج من الله على المؤمنين أن يتقوا الله وأن يصلحوا ذات بينهم. So this goes, all right. So this is a statement. This is basically going back to Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhum about the tafsir of this ayah. All right, so where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, fattaqullaha. So, all right, we talked about taqwa over and over and over again. And we know that taqwa means what? Build a dam?
No.
A moat?
Like you set up a barrier between you and the prohibition.
Yeah, you set up a barrier between you and the punishment of Allah by obeying Allah's commands and staying away from His prohibitions. That's the protection. Your protection is the commands, carrying out the commands, staying away from the prohibitions. That's your protection against the fire, against the punishment of Allah. All right, so He said, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَصْلِحُوا وَأَصْلِحُوا, as we talked about, bring about reconciliation. ذَاتَ بَيْنِكُمْ, between the people. That make sure that we have peace and reconciliation between the people whenever they differ. All right, this ayah was sent down in the beginning of Surah Al-Anfal. All right, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَنْفَالِ قُلِ الْأَنْفَالُ لِلَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَصْلِحُوا ذَاتَ بَيْنِكُمْ وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ, like that. All right, so this is the beginning of Surah Al-Anfal, and this was an issue, if I'm not mistaken, I got to go back and check it, but it was had to do with Badr. At the time of Badr, where the older people, they were standing guard amongst the flag. They were holding the flag down while the younger people, they were going out and doing all the fighting. So the younger people tried to get all the ghanima. They wanted to get all the war booty. And the older people said, well, we wouldn't have been able to do what you did if we didn't block them from coming in and attacking. So we were holding the fort down on the, standing guard, keeping them from being able to come behind you. So we're going to split it up between us all together. And the younger people like, nah, it's all ours, because we did all the fighting, And then this was the purpose of why this ayat was set down. And you can go back and read about the full story in the tafsir, inshallah, where he said, call it. So this is Ibn Abbas, he's talking about the tafsir of the ayah. He said, call it هذا تحريج. And this is not the full statement of Ibn Abbas. Tahrij is like a tadyiq. Tahrij has different meanings in the Arabic language. So tahrij, it can have tahrim, it can have tadyiq, it can have al-hath ala shay, ala istimrar fi shay. It can have a lot of different meanings, right? But in this case, it means like sorry, man, he's sending some message. Oh, I'll get to your question, inshallah, in a minute. But it said like and this right here is like a tahrim, So it's like basically because the actual statement of Ibn Abbas is hada tahrijun wa nahyun. That's the full statement of Ibn Abbas from the tafsir. He said hada tahrijun min Allahi ala al-qawm wa nahyun. All right, lahum an al-ikhtilaf مما اختلفوا فيه من الأمر من أمر الغنيمة وغيره. So this is the full statement. So this is a prohibition. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to, basically commanded them to stay away from this type of problems, and we should seek to reconcile and come to some type of an agreement instead of just saying, like them saying, no, we have a part of the ghanima, and you say, nah, we're not giving you anything. No, we sit down and we reconcile and we come to some type of agreement where everybody can leave the table what? Yeah, like he doesn't feel like he's been oppressed. But when you have this group of people saying, I'm taking it all, and the other group with nothing in their hands to show for it, then nah, I mean, so this was what it was about. هذا تحريج من الله على المؤمنين أن يتقوا الله, that they should have fear of Allah and that they should constantly seek to reconcile. Whenever we have any type of differing amongst us, we should go back to the Quran and the Sunnah and seek this reconciliation between ourselves. Where where we can bring about peace, and we don't have like one party being oppressor and one party being the oppressed, and then people leaving off and starting to divide up into different groups. And we've seen this so many times. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and mention every single situation, but I know in like one city I lived in before I left to Yemen, there was an imam at the masjid, and the imam was a very nice brother, man. This brother was so cool, akhi. This is probably, and I didn't get to know this brother until right before I left Atlanta, but this brother was so cool, akhi. It's one of the coolest brothers I ever met. But he was having problems between his wife. So, and this is like how we've been duped in America because of these, a lot of these pimps that became imams in the past, where they, bring, you and your wife come to me and we're gonna solve this together. What do you think happened? The imam ended up convincing the wife to divorce, to get a khuluk, divorce the husband, and then after her iddah was finished, the imam married the woman. So then the whole masjid split up because you have one group defending the imam and his batil, and the other group defending who? The brother that's now been oppressed because he just lost his wife because of what? Some pimp becoming the imam. A person who went overseas, studied Arabic, didn't study anything else, worked in different things, and he just picked up the Arabic language, went back, became the imam of a masjid. That's it. Study nothing, no ulama, no nothing. He just picked up the Arabic language, and then look what he did. And wallahi, this story, whoa, you can go from community, and you can see this type of story all over the place. And then what happened is the masjid completely split up. What started as a great thing, and it was building, the masjid was getting bigger, the community was getting stronger. Then what happened? Now they have no masjid, everything split up. Everything shadara madara. Just like everybody off into These brothers now won't speak to these brothers even till this day. Still have problems. And you can go through every single community. Go to New Jersey, go to Philadelphia, go to New York, go to DC, go to Baltimore, go to all these communities, Chicago, here, everywhere, and you're gonna find stories like it's full. And so, I mean, even like here, brothers have told me stories like this. It's sick, akhi. Wallah, it's sick. And people don't seek reconciliation. They seek to take sides of people. And again, it's going back to like what? I'm supporting the imam. That's my homeboy. Nah, akhi, you support the truth. We're supporters of truth. We're not supporters of oppression. And this type of oppression, akhi, that's wrong. And like I said, I know that brother. I know the brother that brother that got his wife taken from akhi. That was a very good brother. Very good brother. Man, subhanAllah. And that imam, he didn't have a good ending. And the pimp, he got pretty much ran out of dawah. He don't give dawah no more. He's not an imam at no masjid. Nobody, that's those days are over for him. So akhi, man, this is it's crazy. But I mean, no, in any situation we have, we should always seek reconciliation between each other, but with justice, not by oppressing people. By coming to something just and that means going back to the Quran and the Sunnah, and the people that should be reconciling between us are the people of knowledge, not the people of, just because he's an imam in the masjid. I mean, most of the times, wallahi, the most corrupt person is the imam in the masjid. And definitely the board of directors. I mean, so Allah musta'an. I've yet to see one masjid in America. I mean, but you got to keep in mind that I haven't been to I've been to a lot of different cities in America, but I've not seen one masjid where there was there was one masjid back in the days where there was no corruption on the board of directors, the imam, nothing, no corruption. Huh? It was an explosion. What?
Yeah, I heard that too.
I heard it, but I mean, what was it? Was it fire? Or you think? Sometimes they got fire. No, because we're not that close to the baseball park to hear it. Because that was coming from that way. Huh? I mean, we'll know. When you start hearing all that, because look, if anything happened down there, all the police have to come this way. They have to come through this way because the police station is down the street. Yeah. So they're going to come up and they're going to go through that way. So
yeah, that's what happened last time.
Yeah, they have to. If anything in this area, they have to come through here. So, all right. So now, Bab 184. باب إذا كذبت لرجل وهو لك مصدق. All right, so this is a chapter if you lie to a person while he believes you, where he believes you and you've earned his trust and then you tell him a lie. All right, and this is al-khiyana. This is exactly what al-khiyana is. Because if you lie to somebody who doesn't trust you, there's no real khiyana. You're just a liar. Because the people don't trust you. But now you know that this person trusts you. You've earned the trust of the person. And then what? Then you lie to him to trick him and deceive him. Then that's what? That's khiyana. All right? Because that's what a khiyana is. A khiyana is ala ish. Ala al-i'timan. And if you ala al-i'timan, anta ta'taman bih. That you have this trust and you have this taqwa. You have this trust with the person. And then the person lies to you. Or the person does something like this. This is al-khiyana. Khiyana is a treachery. Treachery. Yes. So, Bab إذا كذبت لرجل هو لك مصدق. All right, hadith number 393. We're going to go up until 9:30. I'll give him the medicine. And then, inshallah, then we'll take questions after 9:30, inshallah. All right. حدثنا حيوة ابن شريح. قال حدثنا بقية ابن بقية. بقية here is بقية ابن الوليد. مدلس ولا يقبل حديثه إذا لم يصرح بالتحديث. And here what did he say? بقية عن. So if a mudallis says عن, what do we say? Do we accept the hadith? You forgot what a mudallis is? Huh? What is tadlis? We spoke about this before, mudallis. I mean, mudallis is a form of trickery. It's a form of deception. But what do they do? The mudallis is a type of person, he might narrate from a sheikh. And the sheikh is weak in hadith. So he knows that if he narrates from a sheikh, then what? Says the hadith is not going to be accepted. But he, for whatever, maybe he feels that the hadith is authentic, but he knows the people will not accept it. So he does one of a few things. Either one, instead of narrate, like let's say that his sheikh's name, he's known by his kunya. Let's say that his kunya is like, I don't know, Abu Tahir or whatever, okay? Abu Tahir, all right, that's his kunya. That's what he's known by. But his name is like Saleh ibn Ahmed or whatever, right? Or Ahmed ibn Saleh. That's your uncle's name. All right, so Saleh ibn Ahmed. All right, so what, instead of saying Haddathani or Haddathana Abu Tahir, he says Haddathana Saleh ibn Ahmed. Well, the people don't know him by that. It's like me coming up to you and giving you a narration of a hadith saying, An Abdurrahman ibn Sakhr. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كذا وكذا وكذا وكذا. Most of the people are going to be like, who is Abdurrahman ibn Sakhr? Right? Who is he? Who's Abdurrahman ibn Sakhr? Nobody. Nobody. I got to go to the, I want to see if somebody, come on, Hamid. Abu Hurairah. So, but instead of saying, you know, An Abi Hurairah, I say An Abdurrahman ibn Sakhr. So he does this with a sheikh to make the people think that he's narrating the hadith from another sheikh who's authentic, whose hadith is accepted. Or what he does is instead of narrating from his sheikh, he narrates the hadith from his sheikh's sheikh. He skips a sheikh and narrates it from above him, even though he never heard hadith from his sheikh's sheikh. You know, so he knocks a sheikh out and narrates the hadith directly from his sheikh. And then, you know, and all of these are forms of tadlis. And this is trickery in hadith. And this is, so anybody that does this and is known for doing this, if they do not clearly say, haddathani, akhbarani, and ba'ani, like they have to like say very clearly, this person told me or told us this hadith. If he says an or an, which is an ana or an ana, then the hadith is not accepted. And in this case, Baqiyya, he is a mudallis from the high order of mudallisin, and he said an dubara. All right, so already the hadith is da'if. But now an dubarata ibn Malik al-Hadrami is majhul. So not only is he doing tadlis, but he's also doing tadlis from a person who's majhul. So yes, double the fun. All right, double time da'if. All right, an abihi, an Abdurrahman ibn Jubair ibn Nufair, أن أباه حدثه أن سفيان ibn أسيد الحضرمي حدثه رضي الله عنه أنه سمع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول كبرت خيانة أن تحدث أخاك حديثا هو لك مصدق وأنت له كاذب. So no doubt that this hadith is da'if, but the meaning is still beautiful, and we can still benefit from the meaning of this hadith. He said, "Kaburat khiyanatin." What a huge, like the treachery, and to hadith, like this is a huge form of treachery, that you speak to your brother in a manner, you speak to him hadith, and like, you know, something like whatever you're speaking about, huwa laka musaddaq, and he believes you, wa anta lahu kadhib, but you're lying to him. So he said that this is a huge treachery, and this is true. Regardless of the hadith being da'if, this is true. So the meaning is true. All right, but no, bila shak. You know, to sit here and earn the trust of somebody and then lie to the person, and the worst thing, and the worst form of this treachery, you know, we're just dealing with the common man. But what's the worst form of this treachery is to earn the trust of the people and then to start telling them, making up ahadith and giving them ahadith of da'ifa, and telling them, you know, and teaching them the aqidat al-fasida, you know, teaching them the wrong beliefs, teaching and giving them like weak hadiths or made up hadiths, you know, like people just sitting here making up a hadith, they you know, just making them up and no fear of Allah whatsoever. Well, even though the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man kadhaba alayya muta'ammidan falyatabawwa maq'adahu min an-nar," you know, that whoever lies about me on purposefully, then let him take a seat in the hellfire. You know that this is, you know, this is from the, you know, min akbar al-kaba'ir, that a person tells a lie against the Prophet. But you know, people do this, and they do this after earning the trust of the people, and that's fireworks, man. Explosions don't happen like that. Come on, man. You lived in Yemen, you know, and they don't sound like that either. Much more. That's like, you know, like a garbage can or something like that. Garbage can blowing up.
Milk factory.
Huh?
Milk factory.
Most of those big explosions, actually, you don't hear them. You feel them. They don't make a noise. I mean, I remember one time a restaurant blew up next to our house. And I didn't know. I was talking on the phone with a brother. This was in Sunnah. And I was looking at the door. And the door did like the door bowed in. There's no noise. You couldn't hear anything. But the door bowed like this. And like that, you know. And slammed shut. And I told him, I said, well, I got to go outside, man. Something just blew up. You know, yeah, we didn't hear nothing. But, you know, the blast. You get that blast that blows in. You know. It's not saying that all the time you're not going to hear anything. You hear stuff. Like when a lot of stuff, like something big explodes, you're going to hear it. But not all the time. You're not going to hear it like that. It's not, you know, it's much louder than that when you do hear it. Much more powerful. There's like that's fireworks, man. When you see like me and him get up and start moving around the house, if we hear something like that, that's when you should be concerned. But if we're still here, sitting here sipping tea and you ain't got nothing, that ain't nothing. Because when I hear something that I know is familiar, nah, boy, we're going to be on the move. We ain't going to be sitting here talking and sipping tea and doing a live stream. Live stream's over. Live stream's over, boy. All right. So no doubt. I mean, the biggest treachery is people of innovation. They come into this religion and teach the people falsehood, teach the people their culture, and trying to convince the people this is the Sunnah, teaching the people what they taught in Al-Azhar, you know, like this is the way we do things in Egypt, and nobody cares how you do things in Egypt. We care about how you do things, how the Prophet ﷺ did it, and how his companions did it. We care about the Sunnah. We don't care about how you practice Islam in your country. That's not our concern. You're not in your country no more. You know, us, I mean, we never had none of, wallahi, akhi, I'm going to tell you, and anybody that goes back and that's probably here from, you know, that's old enough to remember in the 90s, akhi, we didn't know what no madhab, we didn't know anything about madhab. We knew Bukhari, Muslim, books of hadith. That's it. And back in those days, if whatever you told a brother, you're like, he's going to tell you what? Show me the hadith. I think I told you that story before. Me and Abdul Rahman, his father, before we were in Jacksonville, and we were cleaning this brother's yard, like we were doing like landscaping. There's a brother, is a Syrian brother. He like said, you know, I was like 16 years old at the time. He said, you know, come over here. You want to make some money? You know, I need you to pull all these weeds. But he lived in one of these like nice neighborhoods with a pond and all this. They had like this pond in the neighborhood. So if you're in Florida and you have a pond, what are you going to have? Well, mainly close up to your house, you're going to have water moccasins. All right. So while we're cleaning, where we're like trying to pull out the weeds, there's a water moccasin like right there. And I tell the brother, I like, kill it. Because he had the shovel. I didn't have the shovel. He had it. You know, I was at my hands and I pulled back. I was like, water moccasin. And he's like, I ain't going to kill it. That's haram. I said, Akhi, kill it. And he said, nah, man. He said, what's the hadith? I said, it's in Sahih Muslim. Well, I'll show you the hadith when we get back to the masjid. Just kill the snake right now, dude. I ain't going to sit here and pick weeds in front of a water moccasin sitting there. So he chopped the head off. He took it and we threw it into the pond. And we continued our work. We finished the job. We got paid. Then we went to the masjid to pray Asr. And we prayed Asr. As soon as we got done praying Asr, what do you think he did? He said, go show me the hadith right now. You know, he said, you got me to kill the snake? Show me the hadith. And I pulled the hadith out and I showed him, you know, in Sahih Muslim about killing, you know, that type of snake. I got to go back and remember the hadith now, but I mean, the exact wording of it. But I showed it to him. And khalas, that was it. That's how we did things back in the days. You know, and this is obviously is before people started going to different countries and learning about, oh, then the people coming back, oh, I'm following the madhab al-Shafi'i, I'm following the madhab al-Hanbali. Nah, akhi, that's how we were back in the days. We got affected by all the people what? Bringing their culture and bringing their stuff to us. Akhi, nah, but I mean, we go back to what we were upon in the very beginning. And you know, what I'm teaching the people now is this is the way we were, but the only difference is now we go and we sit amongst the ulama, we learn the deen, and now we're coming back and we try to teach the people correctly. So what you see the brother Mundhir teaching, and what you see how the brother Abdul Hakim, and all these brothers that studied, you know, from with Ahl al-Hadith, how they teach. This is what we were about back in the days. You know, it's just all the people that came and they brought all this, they brought their culture with them. And they wanted us to follow what they follow, akhi. We ain't no Jamaat Tablighs. Ain't no Tablighis. Come on, man. Where did that stuff come from? Imported. That stuff's imported from Pakistan. We ain't got nothing to do with no Tablighis. You know, what does that have to do with us? That ain't our deen. Our deen has always been Quran and Sunnah. It's the only thing that we knew. You know, whenever we had an issue, we went back to Bukhari and Muslim. We didn't go back to Fada'il al-A'mal. You know, and what did they follow? That Fada'il al-A'mal, the most made up a hadith in that book. They call it Fada'il al-A'mal, right? I know y'all know that book. People in the chat. But I mean, all that stuff was brought to us, akhi. We don't know that stuff. And then look where those books were translated back in the days. I remember buying those books back in the days. All of them were translated Lahore, Pakistan. That's where the translations came from, because they're important what they believe to us. Now, akhi, we got to go back to what we were about from the very beginning. This is what we were about. We were about like learning the Quran, learning the Sunnah, you know, because that was what they used to tell us. Whenever we used to come to them and tell them, you know, this hadith is in Bukhari. What you're doing is bid'ah. This is, you know, it's going against the hadith. And what did they used to tell us? Probably the same thing that they tell you today. They used to tell us, oh, you guys, you don't know Arabic language. You know, you don't understand the hadith. You don't know it. You know, you're just reading English translations. These English translations are wrong. You know, you can't go off the English translation, right? And just like throwing it away. Then, okay, now we come back. We go and study hadith for years. Now we come back and now we're reading to you the hadith in Arabic with the understanding of the ulama of Ahl Sunnah. What do they say now? Oh, brother, you're an extremist. Oh, brother, you know, now, because they're always going to find something. Because they're not here for the truth. They're not here to teach the deen. They're here to push their culture and what the religion that they practice in their countries. And you see a lot of these imams, especially in these Islamic centers, akhi, wallahi, if you knew their aqidah, you would never allow them into the masjid. You would never pray behind them. You would not even see it permissible as praying behind them. Because some of them are, wallahi, their aqidah is so warped and so messed up that, wallahi, you know, some of them, I doubt, wallahi, that inside, Allah knows best if they're even Muslim. Allah knows best. You know, but I've heard some of these imams, you know, say some of the most far out stuff. And look at this. And look at what you have to go through. The imam coming up and saying, why are you wearing your thobe like this above your ankles? Why do you wear it like that? What type of istighfaf, the sunnah? You know, what is this type? What do you think? You know, like this disregard for the sunnah? Well, why do you hate the sunnah so much? All right, well, this is not the way we do it in Egypt. Go back and become an imam in Egypt. Go back to your country and be an imam. Oh, you can't because nobody's going to listen to you, and you're not going to be allowed to teach in the masajid there because you're a translator. You don't have real knowledge. You have a degree in translation. Again, you know, but these are the types of people that come here and cause corruption amongst the people. You've seen, huh? I'll do it after when we go to the questions, because we're got 4 more minutes, inshallah. So that's the biggest khiyana, the biggest treachery, akhi, is that. Bringing this garbage, this cultural stuff, and you know what your father taught you and stuff, and then saying that this is the sunnah and this is Islam. Nah, man, we go back to what we were upon from the very beginning. We're always upon Quran and the Sunnah. I don't know when all this stuff came. I mean, obviously, I was out of America for 21 years, so I missed a lot. You know, but wherever it came, we need to send it back to where it came from. And we need to get back to the foundations that we were upon before all this garbage came to us. You know, going back to the Quran and the Sunnah and teaching the people the Quran and the Sunnah. Nothing else. Because like right now, the shabab, the youth, they have no raghbah, they have no desire to learn the Sunnah. Yeah, akhi, we just wished, akhi, we would go around, we wish that one person would just teach us something from the Sunnah. Teach us. We had this brother, Araf, not Araf, what's the brother's name, man? Brother in Jacksonville. Allah musta'an. Don't tell me, because I'm tired today, so I'm going to be messing up people's names right now, but he's a brother, Sudanese brother, man, in Jacksonville, back in when I was like 16, 17 years old. And I used to come into the masjid, and if there was nobody around, he'd be like, Muhammad, come here. Sufi. He back in the days, he was a Sufi. But he loved hadith. He loved the Sunnah. He didn't let that Sufi. He wasn't like one of those hardcore Sufis. But he always told me, Muhammad, come here. Let's read Bukhari. Come on. You know, this is what we were raised on. We were raised around people like this. Sit in the masjid and he just grab a volume of Bukhari and he sit down and explain it because he's Arab. So he explains it to me like this is what it's saying and this is, and it, you know, even though the brother had what he had as far as like his beliefs because he was never really taught the Sunnah, right? But the brother had love for the hadith. He used to, you know, every time he was in the masjid, he was either reading a Mus'haf or he was reading Bukhari, reading a book of hadith. And every time I would like just sit down and he'd like, come here, Muhammad, come on, you know? And Ajib, you know, I go back, you know, I go back and now I have to be the one. Come here, brother. You know, it's like, let's sit down and read hadith, right? But that's what we're about, man. And that's what we need to get back to, akhi. Well, this state is like the state that we're in now. It's sad, man. And y'all, that's what y'all going through right now, right? You're extreme, you're this, you're that. Did they tell you that garbage too? You brothers don't understand, you don't know Arabic, and all right, I'm gonna go ahead, like, let me go. I'm about to get the buzzer right now.
More knowledge.
Did you make it? Did you make it? Close. Honestly, I think Earl Grey is my favorite. asking to take off that flyer. Seriously. It's not.
Say, I need some more.
Hamid asked to take it down.
It's too distracting.
Is it a good book?
I never read it, man. Never read it. I mean, I heard all his talks, but I never read his book. Never got a chance to. Inshallah, in the future. I guess so.
Can you read from that book?
No. Man, we only put that book up just to mess with people, man.
Instead, did you check the hadith of Imam facing the congregation after finishing the prayer? The Imam abruptly got up
And left the building.
and left the building, left the room.
He's still in the building.
Yeah, he is still in the building. Oh, the Imam is coming back.
He has returned to the room.
That's fireworks. It is Saturday. I think they do that when people get married too, right? What's that? Why would they do it for a new month? Hadith is on Samura ibn Jundub. Samura ibn Jundub radiallahu anhu قال كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا صلى صلاة أقبل علينا بوجهه. So Samura ibn Jundub radiallahu anhu, he reported that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever he used to pray, if he prayed, like when he finished, أقبل علينا بوجهه, that he would turn around and face us after the prayer. And the hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. There's other hadith, but that's the most that's just like clear cut, you know. It's like, do you doubt it after that?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Oh, but there's one more hadith that I wanted to read too, because there was another one that we talked about yesterday. And this hadith is on Simak ibn Harb. قال قلت لجابر ibn Samura, also Jabir ibn Samura رضي الله عنه كنت تجالس رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال نعم كثيرا كان لا يقوم من مصلاه الذي يصلي فيه الصبح حتى تطلع الشمس فإذا طلعت قام وكانوا يتحدثون فيأخذون في أمر الجاهلية فيضحكون ويتبسموا صلى الله عليه وسلم. This hadith is in Sahih Muslim. So it's reported that Simak ibn Harb, he said that he asked Jabir ibn Samurah, he said, did you used to sit with the Prophet sallallahu, and the Messenger of Allah, did you used to just sit with him? And what he's talking about is obviously just like what? Just sitting with him, like in a normal setting, not in a setting of like learning the deen or something formal of like prayer. Just, did you ever just sit with him? And he said, yes, a lot. He said a lot, he said the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to sit down after he finished praying Fajr. He would remain in the place that he prayed Fajr until the sun came up. So the Prophet used to sit there and he would be doing dhikr. All right, but what did they used to be doing? Like, what were they doing? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is Fajr now, imagine, keep in mind. So take this back, like take this hadith and take this to all those uncles that run around and, hit kids because they're talking in the masjid or whatever, right? All right. So the Prophet used to sit there in his spot in the musalla until the sun came up. All right. فَإِذَا طَلَعْتْ قَامَ. He said if the sun came up, then he stood up and he left. He went about his day. He did what he had to do, like whatever he had to do. He said, وَكَانُوا يَتَحَدَّثُونَ. And the people used to be talking, just general talk. فَيَأْخُذُونَ فِي أَمْرِ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ. And they used to be speaking about things that they experienced in the times of Jahiliyyah. فَيَضْحَكُونَ, and they will be laughing. Now keep in mind, this is a Fajr. Sahaba, they're this is not all the time and not all the Sahaba. But, there'll be like a group of people and they just be talking, getting ready for the day to start. And they'd be laughing, talking about things that they experienced in Jahiliyyah. And what did the Prophet ﷺ tell them? Stop talking. This is a masjid. No. He said, فَيَتَبَسَّمُ sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Prophet would sit there and smile. He would smile while they were talking. While they would be talking and laughing, he would be smiling. He wouldn't partake in the talking, but he would smile in whatever he was doing, whether it was adhkar or whatever. That he remained busy with what he was doing. So, and this hadith is in Sahih Muslim. So, yeah. And also you got this hadith in Sa'id ibn Musayyib رضي الله عنه رحمه الله كذا تابعي قال مرة عمر في المسجد وحسان ينشد فقال كنت أنشد فيه وفيه من هو خير منك ثم التفت إلى أبي هريرة فقال أنشدك بالله سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول أجب عني اللهم أيده بروح القدس قال نعم متفق عليه. So this hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. So Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib, he reported that Umar, he was in the masjid and he passed by Hassan ibn Thabit. I mentioned this hadith yesterday, but I didn't mention the hadith in its totality. I just mentioned this one part. I mentioned that part of the hadith, but this is going to be the whole hadith. He said, well, Hassan Yunshid. Yunshid, it means that he was reciting poetry. He was reciting poetry. So, فَقَالَ كُنْتُ أُنشِد. And it doesn't mention in this hadith what happened, but Omar, he got on him about it. He told him, like, basically, like, what are you doing? And then he said, كُنْتُ أُنشِد فِيهِ وَفِيهِ مَنْ هُوَ خَيْرٌ مِنْكَ. And he said, and I used to recite poetry in this masjid. This is in the Prophet's masjid. This is not just in any masjid. This is in what? The Prophet's masjid in Medina. He said, I used to recite poetry in this masjid when there was a person who was better than you, and I used to recite this poetry in his presence in the masjid. And he's talking about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? So he said, and then after that he said, and then he turned around, Hassan ibn Thabit, he turned to Abi Hurairah and he asked him, he said, did you hear the Messenger of Allah say, Ajib anni, like answer for me? And this was against the mushrikeen, where the Prophet ﷺ commanded Hassan to make poetry and refute them and to bash them and like basically make some diss tracks, right? Dissing the mushrikeen in his poetry. He said, Ajib anni, he said, answer for me. Because they're insulting the Prophet. He said, you answer them now. You do what you got to do to them, like insult them now. And he said, Ajib anni. And then he said, Allahumma ayyidhu bi ruhil qudus. He said, oh Allah, strengthen him with the ruh al-qudus. And what is the ruh al-qudus? People? Answers, nobody.
Yep.
Nobody. Jibril. All right, so to give him that assistance. All right, somebody answered it. All right. Yeah, the Ruh al-Qudus is Jibril. Like to come down and help him, help him with the words and make him, help them say the right thing just to bash their heads in. And he said, Qala na'am. And Abu Hurairah said, yes, I heard this. I heard this from the messenger. This hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. So those were the three hadith that we spoke about. That we mentioned yesterday. Another thing that we need to talk about, because I went back and read the chat today. You gave me part of that one person's question. I didn't read, but I went back and I read all parts of the question because all that was connected. That's not your fault, because the question is broken up into so many different pieces. You couldn't really find you got to go back and read it and then connect it all together. So the question yesterday, where the person asked, should we allow somebody on the board who's kind of like their Salafiyya is a little weak, but they have strong influence with the people? But then when I went and read the rest of the question, oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You don't just bring people in and make them board members in a Salafi masjid because of their influence. If they have this type of weakness, then the weakness is what causes us all the problems, akhi. That's just you know, I don't know how to say this. I don't. What can I say? Any type of weakness that we have in any of our leadership is always going to be, you know, our downfall. Akhi. So, in any masjid, all it takes is one person to corrupt everything. One person. That's all it takes is one person to corrupt everything. One bad apple. So, I didn't understand the question yesterday fully. So, nah, with that type of situation yesterday, no, absolutely not. You should not. I thought the person like weakened in Salafiyah because he lacked knowledge. But then when I read the rest of the question, it's not weak in Salafiyah. Like this person has some inclinations to people that are not Salafi. Oh no, that person has no say so in our masajid ever, ever. You know, if you know a person like that, then no, that's the reason why we have to have our own masajid. Because being the imams and these other masajid, these are the people that we're going to be answering to. We're going to be answering to people that don't follow the Sunnah, that don't have any concern about following the Sunnah. In fact, you know, I mean, they're so far from the Sunnah, it's not even funny, akhi. So, nah, that type of person, you do not have a person like that on the board, ever. It doesn't matter how much influence they have. You fear Allah and you do things for the pleasure of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the influence that you need, you know, through the correct means. Well, we don't need to just bring in people just because they have influence. That's how things go wrong. And this is where Salafis go off the right path. They go off the correct path because they want to go mixing with people because, oh, this group has some influence, so they can help me, you know, give dawah, and I can give dawah to more people. And the next thing you know what? Hey, he's defending Hizbis, he's defending innovators, he's defending all these people, and then he starts attacking the same people that he was supposed to be from in the first place. So nah, these type of people, nah, any type of people that have that softness and leniency with bid'ah, nah, because you're having you got to understand, like, I want the people to have the correct logic when we come to these things. You can't get emotional. All right, this is the religion of Allah. None of us have the right to give our opinions about the religion of Allah and then like expect the people like we're gonna follow my opinion. Our opinions have to be based on what? It has to be based on evidence. Then it has to be based on opinions of the people from before. We just can't come up in 2025 making up our own opinions, you know, saying that this is okay and this is our you know, and calling to this and calling to that and shaking hands with Jews and Christians and hugging homosexuals and all this type of stuff and saying that, oh, but it's 2025. Yeah, nah, man. If it, you know, whatever the people were on before, that's what we're on. And that's what we follow. We take our opinions from the people from before. We don't just come here making stuff up. You know, I mean, obviously we have certain issues that we have to deal with that they didn't have to deal with before. You know, Imam Ahmed didn't have an internet connection and, you know, cellular phones and TV, but they had other things that were similar to those. You know, every people from before had their distractions. And they did, who drew pictures and made all these types of things. So they had these types of distractions and this type of foolishness, but they just didn't have it in the way that we have it today. So there's nothing new under the sun, as they say, right? You know, so we take our opinions from the people from before. We don't just come in here just making stuff up and making this new religion. So anybody that has that type of leniency with people that does that, you got to understand. An innovator is a person who does that he says, because I told you, there's two types of statements. There's a statement of what? And there's a, you know, a qawl bil lisan al hal and a qawl bil lisan al what? Bil lisan al maqal. All right? Bil lisan al hal and bil lisan al maqal. So lisan al maqal, it means that it's a statement, like you say something. Now, are they saying that the Prophet did not do his job? Are they saying this with their mouths? No, because that would be kufr, right? That would be complete kufr. We'll take them out of the religion. But by innovating in the religion, are they saying it through their actions? Yes, they are. Because you're saying that the actions that you're doing are more correct. Why are you innovating these actions into the religion? That what? You think that you know something that the Prophet ﷺ didn't know? Do you know something that the Sahaba didn't know? Do you have knowledge that they didn't have? Where did this come from? Where do you get going around and standing up at night and the praying and fasting and doing all this stuff from the halfway point of Sha'ban or any of these? Hey, amigo. What happened? You got fired? Huh?
Fire for lighting off fireworks. Really? He got fired?
No. He just said I'm not an amigo anymore, so I thought he got fired. What's that? Huh?
That's your promotion? First Polo one? The rock around?
Dude, I'm like a Yemeni father, man. I don't care about your paperwork. Where's the money at? Start bringing the money. You got a job. Bring some money.
That's not the paper I want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's what the innovators do. The innovators, they say through their actions that this religion was not complete until we completed it with these actions, these innovations that we add into the religion that the Prophet ﷺ didn't do. Because if he didn't do it, I mean, come on. What do you think? That you know something? Honestly, this is what you're saying, that you know something that he didn't know. That you think that this is so good that we have to do it, that you have to call the people to doing it, but he didn't know it. You're not saying that with your tongue, because like I said, if they said it with their tongue, they would have left Islam. But they say it through their actions. So those types of people we have no leniency with. And when you understand that this is what the person's doing, then you can you can understand having like this type of harshness with these types of people, the people that call to it, not the people that practice it because of their ignorance, not the people that just fall into, they've been tricked and deceived into following this stuff. We have rahmah, we have mercy with these people and we advise them. But we're talking about the callers to this stuff, the people that are calling the people away from the Sunnah. Nah, we do not. Anybody that has leniency with these types of people, we can't be around them. They can't be making decisions amongst us. Because those are the people that cause so many problems. So many problems. And you don't even know. They and Damascus, they had Houthis, man. They had Houthis sitting there memorizing Bukhari with the Shaykh. They grew out the beard, they put on a thobe, and all they were doing was spying on the markers the whole time, so that they can go back and inform the Rafida where to send the hound. What is the hound again? The mortar rounds. Where to send the mortar rounds. Where the snipers should set up at. But the whole time this guy's got a beard, miswak, memorizing the hadith in Bukhari, and sitting in the lesson of the Shaykh. So I mean, when they did catch him, let's just say when they did catch him, yeah.
He wasn't in one piece.
I ain't saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing. But you best believe that he wished they didn't catch him. It's like, I mean, he wasn't going home eating dinner with his mother that night. No, he was not. And not for the rest of eternity either.
Did they actually memorize the hadith?
Yeah, because you have to.
When he calls up, stand up.
Yeah, you stand up and read the hadith. And these are Rafidi, planning and plotting the destruction of the market. So, I mean, we got to be careful about people who we allow amongst us, And it's not to say that we should, distrust people. I mean, because the Sheikh never, even Sheikh Mufrad, rahimahullah, he knew that he had, spies and stuff like that, spies from the government studying amongst them. But he wouldn't sit there and, call them out, embarrass them. He knew this was going on, but because he knew that it's better for them to sit in the class and know, this is what we're teaching. This is what we're about. Instead of having them guessing, thinking oh, I think they're talking about this. Nah, you sit in the class and you listen. And now you know. And a lot of those dudes ended up going up to the Sheikh and telling them, hey, I used to be this. And now I made Tawbah because of sitting in the class with the Sheikh.
I was just going to say, I wonder how many people they changed.
Oh, quite a few. Quite a few.
Their intentions were to spy, but sitting there, they changed their...
Quite a few. And it happened even one time in the time of Sheikh Yahya, when one was a French brother. He went up and disrespected the Sheikh in a very, very, very bad manner. They just snatched him out of the room. 3 o'clock in the morning. You got government agents there, but they love the Sheikh. They don't, nobody knows they're government agents. Nobody knows who they're working for, but they love what he's teaching. They love the truth. Man, when they found out this dude did that, guy disappeared. Got the fudger. That dude wasn't in his room no more. He ended up getting thrown in jail and shipped back to France. So, you got that those people exist, but they had that love for the Sheikh from sitting in those classes, sitting in the classes. So, no doubt. We don't sit here and distrust people. We don't sit here and say, oh, this person's this. That's not permissible. That's not permissible to sit here and have those types of thoughts about your brothers. you know, unless there's like some type of evidence. But just to be cognizant of that, you know what I'm saying, that we do have people like that amongst us, that's going to happen. And when you start to see this behavior, this lenient behavior, then that should start to, you know, raise like red flags. Oh, you know, this brother's got influence. Oh, this brother, you know, oh, just, you know, go talk on the panel with these people. You know, that way you could spread the doubt. Yeah, you're calling the people to do what? You know, to start to like compromising their religion. And, you know, anybody that starts to call us to that, and we have to be wary of them, you know, and stay away from them.
Just that my non-Muslim aunt married herself off without telling anyone. This has started some fitna in my family and hurt my non-Muslim grandparents. How should I react? Can I get angry?
Marriage is not valid. How can she marry herself off without telling anybody? La nikah illa bi wali. So there's no marriage except for with a wali. So you mean that she married herself off without a wali?
Yeah, without telling anyone.
Then the marriage is invalid. You need to advise her and tell her that she needs to go back on this, or else she's going to be committing fornication. So it's not permissible. Spanish repository says, is it grammatically correct to end a sentence with a preposition and harf jar in Arabic?
Oh,
Right, you studied in Harvard or something? That sounds like a Harvard grammatical rule in English. That's what they used to teach back in the days, that you can't end that's in English, that they say you can't end a sentence without on a preposition. You can end you can end a sentence in a preposition, but that doesn't mean that the preposition is the end of the sentence, because the meaning still continues after the preposition anyways. Because the preposition is a shibhul jumla. And the shibhul jumla, it has to be connected to something else, and it has to be complete. And a preposition on its own is not a complete sentence, and not even a complete shibhul jumla. So you know, it's like, you know, you can say like, huwa afdala min Ahmed. You know, that's the asl. You know, but it's still afdala minhu. So you're ending it, but you're not ending it with the preposition anyways. You're ending it with the dhamir, which is the hat. So I don't know of any sentence like where you just, I don't know. You have to feed me like fill me. How you say that? Fill me in on that one. Yeah.
His aunt, she's not a Muslim. She's not a Muslim. His aunt.
So what does he care what she does?
He's just asking if he can get angry.
You should be angry about her not being a Muslim at first. That's you know, forget about what she's doing as far as, I mean, her not being a Muslim should be your biggest concern, not her actions right now outside of Islam. Her not being a Muslim should be your biggest concern. That should be your focus, not anything else. It's like I used to tell this guy. I think I told y'all that story before. When I was in a taxi in Yemen, and there was a guy chewing cotton, and the people that chew cotton, they just love the yippity yap, man. They love to talk. They're like, they're geeked up, man. They're like they're on cocaine, man. Because a lot of them they're chewing cotton, but they're also taking pills, and they're drinking energy drinks, and they're doing all this other stuff. So they just be geeked up, man. Their eyes popping out their head. So they love to just talk about nothing. And then the guy, as soon as I get in the car, he's like, "Yeah, matawwa, al-takhzeen, hada haram." And he's like, the cot, chewing cot, is it haram? And I just looked at him. I said, "Akhi, anta tusalli? Do you pray?" He didn't answer. So I knew it. Like, I looked at his face. I'm like, "Man, you don't even pray." I was like, "You think, if you're not praying, Akhi, then my concern is that you're not praying. I don't care about you chewing cotton and you don't pray. And not praying takes you out of religion. Chewing cotton makes you sinful. I would rather you pray and chew cotton than chew cotton and not pray. Or not chew cotton and not pray, or whatever the case may be. I'm more concerned about, be concerned about the bigger issue, not this other issue. The fact that she's not Muslim, that should be your concern right now.
Does anyone happen to know where Sheikh Yahya is currently teaching?
Hadramaut.
Does defense and jihad need to be behind the Wali Amr? Is it far kifaya to help them from different lands? I've seen a difference of opinion.
Difa doesn't have to be behind the Imam. Behind the Wali al-Amr, because it's difa. So like the same thing, when the brothers were attacked in Damascus, they have to defend themselves. What are they going to sit around and do? Wait for the permission from the Wali al-Amr while they're getting killed and slaughtered? They stand up and they defend themselves. And it's an obligation upon the people of that village, but everybody else is fard al-kifaya. It's not fard al-ayn for them to go and help them. It's only fard al-ayn on the people that are being attacked in that village. What? ايش؟ لماذا؟ No questions?
I think that's all she wrote.
Ustad, is Yemen safe to study now?
I told you guys at least 3 or 4 times how the remote is safe for now. I mean, at least now it's safe. It's been safe for the last, as long as I was in Yemen until now, it's been safe. So I don't, whatever fighting happened in how the remote was very, very little, if at all.
What about like Adab or anywhere in the south?
What's that?
What about other places in the south?
I didn't. There's times, good times and bad times, man. Because, they're never going to come to any type of an agreement. They're all still vying for power. So anything could happen in Aden at any time. So, because in Aden you have the socialists, you have the fake Salafis, you have, and I mean fake Salafis, I mean Hani Borek. He's a fake Salafi. Like he's the one that actually hangs out with the socialists and then participates in protests against the actual Wali al-Amr. So that's why I call him the fake Salafis. Like, even the Sheikh used to call him Hani Bila Borek. Hani Bila Borek. You know what that means? Hani Bila, like without Borek. He has no breaks. He just keeps going and going. Like he has no boundaries. He'll just keep going and going, and when you tell him like what you're doing is wrong, and he just hits the gas pedal, no brakes. That's what he used to call him, Hani Bila Borek. Wallahi, Sadaqa Sheikh, wallah.
What other people were there to take knowledge from?
Huh?
Yeah.
Sheikh Abu Bilal, Sheikh Yahya, Sheikh Muhammad Al-Anasi. A lot of brothers, Akhida, students of knowledge all over the place. There's people that I know from the past, and there's people that I don't know. Huh? Sheikh Abdul Hamid is in Mahara. It's not in Hadramaut. Fath al-Qadasi is in Ta'iz. Sheikh Abdul Rahman al-Shamiri is in Ta'iz. Huh? What? What's that? What? Man call هذا.
Abdul Malik is saying, we have a very...
You want to recite a poem? You got to do that at the beginning of the lesson, man. No, you get up at the beginning of the lesson and you recite a poetry. Huh? Yeah, you got to do that, inshallah, the next live stream. You do that at the beginning. Huh? No, the Sheikh let the people get up at the beginning of the lesson. Yeah, wait. Well, when we do the next live stream. We're not going to have class on Monday, so just to let the people know. My son has 2 doctor's appointments on Monday, so we're not going to be back here on time. Huh? After the class.
What about Indonesia?
What about it? Why do you keep asking all these questions, man?
Because they got Indonesian zip lines out there.
What are you talking about, Indonesian zip lines?
Zip lines. You hook up to the zip line.
I thought you were talking about seeking knowledge. You want to go what?
No,
6 Flags of Indonesia? Or what are you trying to go to?
The question was there people take knowledge
from the zip lines?
No, from Indonesia. But you said, what do I like about Indonesia so much? Because they have good zip lines too.
You want to go all the way to Indonesia for the zip lines?
No, that's just a bonus.
You can go to zip lines here.
It's just like an extra.
No, the bonus is that you
got the book. He's reading off the zip line.
Oh my God! If that's the bonus that you want to go to Indonesia for, then you're missing out on the whole point of going to Indonesia.
That's what I'm saying. The whole point is to go, but on top of your whole reason of going is that they got
the zip lines.
These zip lines going through these.
So not all the good food that they have, the nice people, the good coffee. All right, you can get a nice, well-mannered, a good wife who was raised up in a good society with a good family, not this corrupt society of the West that you see. Allah Musta'an. And maybe she knows Kung Fu. Pinchak Silat, you know, not Kung Fu, but yeah.
No, seriously, is there people?
Zip lines, I don't know. I got to check, inshallah.
No, people to take knowledge from.
I told you guys from before. Abu Turab is there. Abu Hazm is there. But where they are in Indonesia, I don't know.
There's some issues going on with some,
Abdul Malik
with
is
the Tiny
saying.
Hat Club.
Abdul Malik is saying we have a very serious attack going on with us here now.
Serious attack?
Yeah.
Is that what? Is that y'all getting bombed over there? Is that what I keep hearing?
No, so
Are y'all getting a mortar attack or something, or
we
what?
have idiots around us claiming that they have Jew
No,
now.
don't say that word, right?
Say
Tiny Hat.
bagel
Bagel.
blood.
They have
Golden
bagel
steeds.
blood now, teaching them so much cabbage.
Show me
What
the
is
question, man.
ruling on the
Just show me. Hold on. Show me the whole question, man. So what are you talking about cabbage, man? Oh, he actually wrote cabbage.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, the Malik, that they have Jews now? What is that? Juice.
Juice.
Yeah, that they have juice now.
Orange juice.
Orange juice,
Apple
grape
juice.
juice. Yeah. Huh? Oh, they allow these people to come and speak in the masjid.
I have no idea.
Ah, that's- Yeah, akhi, it's not permissible to let an innovator come and speak in the masjid, and he's Muslim. Much less a kafir. Any kafir. Doesn't matter. Whether he's a Jew, Christian, or whatever, he's not allowed to speak in the masjid. What do you keep washing them for? What is this? What are you handing me this for? I'm having a hard time keeping my hands dry. Or you keep getting them bloody or what?
All the juice.
What's going on, Abdul Malik? I gotta call you, inshallah, when the live stream finishes, inshallah. Man, we already talked about this, man.
Somebody asked.
Well, we already talked about it. It's not permissible.
New viewer, man.
Yeah, okay, well, he's just gonna get the short answer. No,
It's not permissible.
it's not permissible.
Is it halal to eat non-halal meat in Christian countries like USA?
Huh?
Is it halal to eat non-halal meat in Christian countries like USA?
If the meat is slaughtered by the people of the book, slaughtered, and the name of Allah is pronounced over the meat, then it's permissible, because it's the meat of the people of the book. But if the meat is not slaughtered and doesn't have the name of Allah pronounced over it, then it's not permissible.
What if you don't know?
Huh?
What if you don't know?
I'm gonna tell you right now, 9.9 times out of 10, it's not slaughtered, and they don't say the name of Allah over it, period. These people are not Christian, akhi.
Yeah.
Listen, you want to understand Christianity in America? Let's look at how Christian these people are in America. All right, you guys, you ready? You ready for this, right? Because this is a good way to look at things, right? All right, right now, all right, they're introducing into the schools. All right, this is not hypothetical, but we're gonna mix it with a hypothetical, but it's not really hypothetical because it really happened in the 70s. All right, yeah. So they introduce all this trans agenda stuff into the schools, right? How much noise are the Christians making about this? Now, if all the people here that are so-called Christians, and they say, no, man, we do not want our children being taught this garbage. If they all stood up because of their religion, do you think that they're going to allow this stuff to happen in schools? Absolutely not. Why are they allowing it to happen in schools? Because people aren't saying anything about it. People are quiet about it. So the people are quiet about it when they're teaching the kids this garbage. When you let RuPaul come in and read children's stories to your kids, you're quiet. You know, a little drag queen comes in and reads stories to your kids, you're quiet. You know, you got these pedophiles as teachers touching kids, and you're quiet. And all this stuff, you're quiet. Now, here's the question. What happens now if the teachers start saying, you know what, we want to go back and start praying in school again? Who starts complaining? The parents. We don't want religion in school. This is how Christian they are, right? Well, come on, akhi. They're like a murtad from their own religion. You understand? Like they're like apostates of their own religion. You know, so yeah, they got this like the symbolic, I guess you could say, name of being Ahl al-Kitab. These people are not Christians. These people are so far from their own religion that it's not even possible. So no, they're not pronouncing the name of Allah when they announce the meat, when they slaughter the meat, sorry. They're not slaughtering at all. They hit the cows or the goats or whatever with a electric gun, then they cut the head off. And there's no in the name of God pronouncing this. So khalas. I mean, if that's the case, then this meat is not permissible. It's not permissible.
So
It's a dead animal.
What about like going to McDonald's or In-N-Out?
Yeah, McDonald's doesn't even have meat. They got pink slime, right?
Okay, what about In-N-Out?
Huh? I don't know. I mean, they get all their meat from the same factories. All of it goes through the same people. So I'm telling you that meat's not slaughtered. I worked in a slaughterhouse before I left America when I was in Atlanta. I worked in a slaughterhouse that was owned by a kafir, but only the Muslims were allowed to slaughter. But I watched the kuffar slaughter. I've seen them slaughter their own meat, you know, for themselves, and they don't slaughter. We are the ones that used to slaughter. They didn't slaughter. They shoot the thing with an electric gun, and then they cut the head off, and that's it. And these were Mexicans. These were like Catholics. They didn't sit there and in the name of God or Mary or whoever. I don't know what they say in the Catholicism. They didn't say none of that. There was nothing religious. In fact,
my paycheck.
huh?
In the name of my paycheck.
And the name of my paycheck. That's it.
So what about crap,
Not important. Hey, you didn't raise up the pink. You know, I don't see no pink hand getting raised up over there. We need to get them some pink gloves or something. Yeah.
Harris Ranch. Is there meat? Hello, I thought it was.
I don't know.
They have a process.
I don't know how they do it. So I heard, and I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to speak to Abdul Malik about this because he'll have more knowledge about this than anybody. But I heard that it's basically the same tactics of slaughtering the animals, and it's machines and audio. I don't know. So I don't know if that's true or not.
I saw on their website they do have like halal meat. That is, they have a section.
Yeah, but do they actually have a physical Muslim in there slaughtering that meat?
So
Or is it just a machine slaughtering with a recording saying Bismillah, 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 you know? And they did this back in Los Angeles with chickens.
Oh, really?
They actually they had a machine, and the machine would chop the neck, and every time that it would chop, there's a recording that would say Bismillah, a recording. It's not halal. A person has to say it. You can't have a recording saying this. What type of foolishness is this?
So how do you find halal meat?
Huh?
How do you find halal meat?
Go do it yourself.
How?
Now I'm saying, look, if it comes from the Muslims, with the Muslims we have husn adhan. We harbor good thoughts with the Muslims. I don't question a Muslim until I have a reason to question a Muslim.
How do you know it's from Muslim?
Huh?
How do you know it's from Muslim? Most of these people, they just slap a halal sticker on most of the meat stores. How do you know it's really from?
Well, we buy it from Muslims, don't we? Yes or no? I mean, these companies, you can go back and check them. So me, I don't buy. I just buy all the chicken that we eat, all the meat that we eat. We buy it from Restaurant Depot, and it's all from the halal. You can go back and check the companies. You know, so that's how you do it. You go back, you check the companies and see. All right, if it's just like some halal company, because some of these halal companies are like in Brazil and places like this. It's just a gimmick. It's just like just to make money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of them, they just slap the little.
Yeah, but I'm saying if it's a Muslim company, I'm not going to question it unless I have a reason to question it. Because I mean, we don't like again the Muslim until I have a reason. If somebody comes and gives me some information that makes me start to doubt, and this person is like a person who's of good standing character, and he's person is a trustworthy person, and he tells you this information, and it causes doubt, then you go and start to question things. But I don't. If it's a Muslim, I don't question the kuffar. I don't trust them. Period. That's the asl. I do not trust the kafir ever. Not if the kafir tells me this halal. Nah.
What if it said it's not?
But I'll tell you one thing: when it comes to buying meat, I'll buy meat from the Jew before I buy meat from a Christian. Because no doubt.
What if it said it's not your job to make sure they're saying the name of Allah?
What?
What if it said it's not your job to make sure they're saying the name of Allah?
What do you mean?
It's the question.
It's not your job?
Yeah, so, like it's not your job to worry about, like, since we live in a Christian country.
We don't live in a Christian country. Who said we lived in a Christian country? There's no official religion of this country. They themselves said that.
Really?
People that run this country, they're not Christian. Akhi, they left Christianity a long time ago, man. If you think these people are Christian, Akhi, how many times do you think Donald Trump gone to church? Come on, man.
I know where he did go and
Yeah, for political things. Yeah, these politicians go to masajid for political things. Akhi, come on, that don't mean nothing. Most of these politicians are communists. Akhi, they're socialists. Akhi, they're just something else, something even worse than that.
They kissed the wall one time, I know that.
Yeah, they go up there. Yeah, they got to go put on that small hat and go make out with the wall. Yeah.
So what about fast food?
Stay away from it, Akhi. It's not healthy anyways.
All right, so
When was the last time that we eaten in a restaurant, Akhi?
sorry, so
It's been months, ain't it? Like we were eating during Ramadan. We were eating from that Falafel Express, huh? But we got it from the Mupam. I'm saying. I think the last time that we ate from the Mupam, we got from Cam's Pizza, and that was months ago. Akhi, man, just leave that stuff, man. Just cook at home.
So all right, so it's a Muslim or a person from the book, so a Jew or Christian. They say the name of Allah
And they slaughter.
and it's like, well, like what's the slide? Is it like that? Or,
Yeah.
okay,
I mean, if it's a goat or a chicken,
go or chicken.
but if it's a
What about-
cow, you gotta slaughter it differently.
So how do you slaughter a cow?
You gotta stick the knife in and pull it out.
Stick
You
it-
can't cut like that. You're gonna cause too much. You're gonna
Stick the knife
because
in
the
the
jugular veins of the cow are the cow's got that skin, right? So if you try to like saw, you're gonna be punishing the animal. So you stick that knife in behind the jugular, and then you cut it out. So that way you cut it quickly, and that way the animal doesn't suffer. Because if you try to do that, like with the goat, because you're pulling the head of the goat like that, so the jugular's right there. Class, you know, all you got to do is have a nice sharp knife, and it's over. You know,
Cover their eyes too, right?
you don't have to cover their eye.
Oh.
They're not gonna see anything anyways. His head's gonna be back. Yeah. You put your neck on your knee on his neck like that. You pull his head back and like that.
What about what about
Chicken, you just do like that. Just hold it, you know, with your thumb. Hold his head back and
What about the hunting? You got the dogs. You got the dogs, and you got like a bow or a rifle. You just say this.
yeah, when you shoot, yeah.
What about Amish communities?
I mean, they're probably closer to Christians, but it doesn't matter if they're Christian or not. It's what they do with that meat. Do they slaughter? If they slaughter the meat and they say the name of God or whatever, their name of, I mean, it's, God is not a name of Allah anyways, but you know, that's what they think it is. So that's why I was joking with my son the other day. We walked out of the house and I said, man, I do not believe in God. Remember that say? So that's it, man. I am a disbeliever. I do not believe in God. You know, 'cause God is not from the names of Allah, so we don't call Allah God. It's not permissible.
It's not permissible. to call Allah.
No,
It's not to call him by anything he didn't call himself.
he
right?
called what he called himself. He never called himself God. It's a name that these kuffar made up.
What about when, like,
And then you spell it backwards, and what does it say?
Oh yeah.
And you got to understand that. And let me teach you something. You know, witchcraft, they always do things in what?
Backwards.
Yeah, they do things in reverse. So that's where they used to take Latin and they used to recite the Latin backwards, and they used to do things backwards. The Quran, they write it backwards. They always do things in reverse. So now imagine that the word that they came up for their creator and sustainer is God, which backwards is dog. That's not a mistake, Akhi. That's not a mistake whatsoever.
my dad growing up used to tell me that.
But it could be from the word dogma, and then they flipped it. Or who knows, man? Who knows? But I'll tell you that the people that really built this country, they built it on that religion, on the backward, no, witchcraft. You know, not Christianity. So you believe whatever you want to believe.
My dad used to tell me that it was dog backwards because that means that God loves dogs. When I was a kid.
You tell kids anything, right? Kids, they believe anything, man. And you still remember it.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Ibrahim?
I have a.
Shoot, man, I just drank two.
I have a non-Muslim who is very loud and argumentative. Oh, what I said.
What's the question?
It's that what places in the world do you know where their slaughter may count as the meat of Ahlul Kitab?
I don't. Maybe Ethiopia. I don't know.
I know Romania. Romania, they're hardcore Christians
Yeah.
over there.
I mean, you got like hardcore Christians in Ethiopia. You got hardcore
Spain.
Christians.
Spain.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I've never been to Spain.
Or Argentina.
Romania is very Christian. Slovakia is very
Portugal.
Christian.
And America, man, I don't know. Man, these Christians here are a joke, man. They're a joke. This is.
Greece.
Maldives.
Huh?
Maldives is Muslim.
Really? Yeah. Seriously?
Yeah. You see that flag? Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You can eat their meat.
Wow, Spanish repository. Oh, brightest moon, I missed your question. Where's your question at? Right. Oh, how do we buy books as there are many explanations of Sheikh Uthaymeen and Salih al-Fawzan? If we buy those books, it will be huge, but there are other classical books. Please, guide.
Let me see this again. Hold on. Will you read it again? Because I can't see the whole question.
How do we buy
And I was
books?
trying to read it, but I got this little emoji thing in the middle of it. I can't see it.
How do we buy books as there are many explanations of Sheikh Uthaymeen and Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan? If we buy those books, it would be huge, but there are other classical books. Please, guide.
You go to a person that you know is knowledgeable and ask that person's advice. You don't just go buying books, you know, ashwa'i, you know, khabtatul ashwa', you know, like, just like, it's whatever you want. You go into the bookstore, oh, I want this, oh, I want this, you know, like you're in a supermarket while you're fasting type of thing, you know. You ever go to the supermarket while you're fasting? And you have like a list of 3 things to get, but you come out with like 50 different things and spend $300, you know, you end up cooking like steaks and cheeseburgers and all this stuff and eat like 1/50th of everything. You don't go into a bookstore like that. You go there, you go and ask a person and ask, you know, what are the most beneficial books? Because you don't need to read every single book. I mean, think about it. Okay, like look at Al-Usul al-Thalatha. All right. You got the Sharh of Sheikh bin Baz, you got the Sharh of As-Sa'di, you have the Sharh of Al-Uthaymeen, you have the Sharh of Salih Fawzan, you have the Sharh of, maybe I don't know if Salih al-Sheikh has a Sharh, I'm not sure. You have, who else? I mean, there's so many. Sheikh Zayd al-Madkhali had a Sharh. Too many, but I'm saying, are you going to sit there and read them all? You know, so you go to the person that you're studying with and you say, what's the most beneficial explanation? And buy that one that is the most, that gives you all the information that you need in one book. Instead of having to sit here and read 20 different books just to get like tidbits of information all over the place. You know, like I read all the explanations of Kitab al-Tawheed. And then Sheikh Abdul Hamid, he printed his, like, and his book is like 800 something pages. Let me see how much, go get it. It's sitting there on right there. It's on top of the books on that shelf. And this book is subhanAllah, a brother from Saudi. He heard me talking about how I was sad that I left this book in Saudi Arabia because the brother Abdul Rahim, he said, oh, I love Sheikh Abdul Hamid. And I said, here, man, take the book. After I finished reading it, but then I gave him the book and I said, well, I regretted giving that brother the book, man. And then the brother heard me say this on one of the talks, on one of the lessons. And then he got in touch with Sajid and sent the book from Saudi Arabia. He went and found the book and then sent it to me. He said, here, so you don't have to be sad no more. You know. But this book, this is the explanation of Kitab Tawheed. It is what? 931 pages, right? So people can see that. What are you taking the fan for, man? These are for the guests, man. No, you ain't got no rights with the guests. When the guests leave, you're evil, man. You need to go back to being an amigo. Amigos treat their guests right. You're American now. You don't treat your guests right. Yeah, that's an American thing. It's my fan. You know, why are y'all using my fan? I don't know if people can they see this?
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, because I don't know. Mine's not even playing, so maybe I need to get caught up. But can you see it?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
So this is the explanation of Sheikh Abdul Hamid. 900 plus pages. And he gave you everything. He gave you the kitchen sink, the refrigerator. He just gave you the whole kitchen, the bathroom, and everything with this explanation. That's what I like. Everything in one-stop shopping. But I didn't find this book until I read all the explanations. But you still got to go back and read books like Fath al-Majid, Taysir al-Aziz al-Hamid, Qurat al-Ain al-Muwahidin. I mean, these are like explanations of Kitab al-Tawheed you have to read. Because these are the explanations of the grandsons of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. But as far as anything else, you just read what you get advised to read. Don't just go just buying books, just reading them. That's what we all did in the beginning because we don't listen to advice. But then in the end, it's like, okay, I think back to all the books I read and how many of those books I really didn't have to read them. I would say at least 200, 300 books I didn't even have to read. I shouldn't probably have wasted my time reading them. Or maybe more. So, I mean, that time could have been spent on reading other books that were more beneficial. You know, instead of just getting the same information over and over and over again. You want like an explanation of Rasul Thalatha? Get the explanation of Shaykh Al-Uthaymeen. Khalas, that's it. You know, you want the explanation of Kitab al-Tawheed, get Fath al-Majid. Or get, you know, if you can get this one by Shaykh Abdul Hamid, good. But this is, like I said, this one's like for a student of knowledge, man. This ain't for like everybody. Because he just throws everything in there. Everything. Like, even his reading his explanation of Bulugh al-Maram right now, 10 volumes. And that's what he does. Everything. He just throws everything. Like, he doesn't leave anything out.
The Spanish repository, are there books that teach the say this of different sciences, or do I just go straight into the Fatwa?
You take one science at a time, and you take one main method at a time. Like I said, all of that goes back to whoever's teaching you. You go and get the advice of the person teaching you and how they do it. It's just now coming up with me, man. I must have had it paused or something. The book is just now showing up.
Oh, yeah.
It must have been. I must have hit it and paused it on accident. But that goes back to whatever the person is teaching you is teaching you. So the way that they teach you, that's what you do. If they're going through like a different matun. Like some people, they might, you know, teach like a silsila, right? Where they go through like they take you up through like one science from the first book all the way up until the final book. Then they go to the next science. Some people, they might just go like one science at a time, just starting with the beginner method. Then they come back around and do all the sciences again, and with the next method up, and then they go back around and do it with the biggest method. And that's the way that they do it in Mauritania, and that's the best way of doing it. But again, it goes back to whoever you're studying with. Get their advice, see how they're doing it, see what they advise you. It's the same thing with the matun. You don't want to just go here and just start memorizing everything. You know, memorizing this, memorizing that. Why? There's only certain matun that you really need. You know, other stuff it's nice to have, but a lot of that stuff you'll get it just through reading. You don't need to memorize it because memorization takes a long time, man. It's not like easy where you can just say, oh, I'm just gonna memorize this and memorize that. I mean, to memorize something and memorize it properly, where you could take that whole book and recite the whole book from memory, that takes time. You don't have time to be wasting on stuff like that. And to read a whole book, you know, especially if that book is 3 or 4 volumes, that takes time. You don't need to be wasting your time on this stuff. Get people's advice and try to do the right thing. As you're reading through books, And memorizing books and reading through books, you're going to notice, like books will always quote other books. You always start reading one book and it's going to lead you to 5 other books. And then you read those 5 books and it's going to lead you to 20 other books. You read those 20 books, it's going to lead you to 200 other books. That's how reading works. The same thing with memorization and studying. You're going to get caught in this, like, I don't know how to, like, it's just going to pull you along. And next thing you know, you're far, far, far away from where you started. You don't even know how you got there, huh?
Rabbit hole.
Like, is it a rabbit hole? I think rabbit hole is more used for conspiracies, but yeah. I didn't want to use the word rabbit hole, especially after we're messing around with the book up there.
Yeah, the chat, they want you to know that they love you for the sake of
Ah. أحبكم الله الذي أحببتموني له. I'm used to saying that with one person, not with a whole group of people.
I have a non-Muslim Khalid who is very loud and argumentative.
Oh, we're back at that question again.
Yeah, I don't see this person often, and they are an avid goer of Speaker's Corner. We had a conversation once, but he just shouted over us. How to deal with that person and what constitutes cutting ties?
Just stay formal with the person. You don't have to get in discussions with the person. I don't like people that like loudmouth argumentative people. I don't. Hi, how you doing? Good. That's it, man. I keep my conversation with them real minuscule, man. I don't have time to talk to people like that. They zap energy, man.
Before I ask this question, what is the ruling on supporting/voting for Muslim politicians for the greater benefit? I've seen many Muslims supporting Zahran, the mayor of New York.
You talking about that communist dude?
Yeah, that
I thought
guy.
he was
He's a Rafidi, He's a Rafidi communist, He combined between the 2 biggest evils in the world, atheism and insulting the Sahaba. Is that dude a Muslim? He ain't no Muslim. He's an Ithna Ashari. He actually claims Ithna Ashariya. If that's the case, he's not a Muslim.
And the question is,
And then he ain't no greater good. Voting for a kafir. First off, voting's haram anyways. Participating in the elections and participating in any of this is participation in Taghut. There's no greater good participating in elections. If you think that you actually vote and your vote counts, I don't know what to tell you, man.
really?
Yeah. What do you think they got all these billion dollar donors so that you tell them what to do? You're a voter. You don't matter to them. They could care less about you. They'll make a bunch of promises to you and then toss you off on the curb as soon as they get in the office. They don't care. I don't think there's ever a greater good voting for none of these dudes. A politician is a munafiq. Period. That's it. You have to be hypocritical to be a politician. You have to be the most two-faced person. And you got to understand the politicians aren't the people with the power in the first place. The president is what? Yeah, come on. You guys forgot the English language? What does president mean? If the manager or the owner of the company is not in attendance at the meeting, then he gives me the job to preside over the meeting. Then what does that make me? I'm presiding over and in his absence. I'm the president. Yeah, you're just a manager. The real owners are like behind the scenes anyways. The real people with power are behind the scenes. Yeah, you're voting for these people out here. That's just a waste of time. They put 2 shaitans in front of you and say, which shaitan do you want to vote for? Yeah, come on, man. There's no greater good with these politicians ever. And there's no greater good participating in this election garbage. And anybody that participates in that needs to fear Allah. Anybody that calls the people to participate that needs to fear Allah. Let's say it's kufr participating in that system, but that doesn't mean that it's kufr that's going to take the person out of Islam. Because again, you have kufr doing a kufr. A lot of the people that are ignorant, they don't know what they're doing. They really think that what they're doing is right. So they have like excuse with ignorance, but you advise them and warn them and let them know that what they're doing is batil. And calling the people to elections is bid'ah. It's following the ways of the kuffar. It's not permissible. Islam has nothing to do with that. Show me one time in the past where the Salaf had elections for anything. And especially some Rafidi communists do. Come on, man. Greater good. Y'all need to fear Allah.
What if we study just online and have no teacher?
What's that?
Brightest Moon is asking, what if we study just online and have no teacher?
But what is that going? What if we study online and we don't have no teacher? What is that question connected to? Because it seems like the person is asking the question is connected to some other question.
It's how do we buy books? As there are many explanations.
Well, we did that.
Yeah. That's the question it's connected to. It's like, what if we just...
Oh, well, then I said ask your teacher. Maybe that's what it's connected to. That's what I'm saying. What is the question connected to? Well, if that's all right, if that's what the question is connected to, ask your teacher. Ask your teacher online. You know, if you study online, you ask the teacher. You know, it doesn't have to be a teacher. I mean, a person who is a student of knowledge, somebody that has that type of experience, even if he's not teaching, you ask him, get his advice. What's the best? Because you don't just need to know what explanations you and what's the best print to buy. You don't want to waste your money, man. You don't want to spend money on a book, then find out it's missing pages, it's got mistakes in the print, it's got all this other foolishness. You want to make sure that you get it right the first time, and you gotta ask people's advice. I mean, whoever you got available to you, ask. If it's online, it's online. You know, if not, I mean, there's people online, I think, that make, you know, reviews of books in Arabic. I don't know if you can speak Arabic. Huh? What? What? إقبال. يعني من هي إيش؟ يعني في الجملة إيش؟ إقبال على شيء, like, you know, like acceptance, and like إقبال على العدو. It means to move towards the enemy. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, what context you're using it? Huh? You're moving towards the enemy. Because al-qubul is the front. The dubur is the back. So aqbala is from the qubul. The aqbala, that you're moving towards him, facing him. Because this is the qubul, the front part. Adbara, the opposite. Because you're showing them what? You're showing them the backside. So you're going from the backside. So that means the opposite, that you're running away from the enemy.
Is day trading / crypto trading permissible?
No. Any type of sarf, it has to be yad and be yad. It has to be hand by hand. And this stuff is not hand by hand. It doesn't actually touch your hand. It's not permissible. This is all electronic stuff, and you know, Muslims, we shouldn't be participating in this stuff anyways, because this is what the kuffar are trying to do, to try to make it where they're taking money away from us anyways. Y'all can sit here and believe that this is a conspiracy theory until it happens, you know, but this is the reality. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get rid of paper money. You know, eventually they're trying to, like, you know, the paper money, it has to go hand by hand. Any type of sarf, any type of financial transaction, yad and be yad. It has to be hand to hand. It means that you have to actually have physical possession of that thing. And you're not having physical possession when you're trading these things like that online. It never actually comes to your hand. You know, you're just moving things around electronically. Stay away from that.
It's funny money.
Huh?
It's funny money.
Yeah. And it's and the way that they make their money is through interest. Even with these investments. So the thing is like, us Muslims, we should be taking our money and investing it and starting Muslim businesses, starting things that, you know, that support us as a community, as a Muslim community. Why are you going to be putting money into a stock market for the kuffar anyways? You're supporting their stock market. And you think that you have any ownership or control of those companies, those corporations? You got nothing. Again, it's like, you know, you got dudes that have billions and billions of dollars, and then you who've saved up like what? Thousands of dollars, now you want to go, you know, throw some money here and here. Actually, they don't. And you think that they care about you and your money. They're going to take it, they're going to use it, they're going to reinvest it in other things, start making money off of your money while you get what? Pennies on the dollar. So it's man, we shouldn't be supporting their system anyways. And, you know, should not be supporting their system at all. You know, if you want to take your money and invest it in something, invest it in starting Muslim businesses. Investing in, like, we have no clothing lines, we got no book shops, we got no book printers in America. We're like pushing out, like, you know, printing our own books and doing all this. Come on, man, we got so much that we need to be doing. We don't need to be investing in their companies and their corporations and their garbage. So keep your money out of their system as much as you can.
Instead, what is the lesser evil? Falling into Phoenicia or marrying an Ashuri or liberal?
Falling into what?
Phoenicia.
Fahisha.
Phoenicia.
Or what?
Or marrying an Ashuri or liberal.
Akhi, don't do either one of them. There's no lesser evil if you can avoid them both. The only time that you take a lesser evil is when you don't have another choice. You have a choice. So there's no, why would you, that's not even, those type of hypothetical questions have no place. Because you can avoid both of them. You're not, nobody's putting a gun to your head saying that you have to do either one of them. Stay away from both of them.
Instead, how do we refer to a deviant sheikh? Do we refer to him by the title of sheikh or maybe a name like Mr. B?
Mr. Bean? What did you say?
Mr. B.
Missouri. Oh, I thought you said Mr. Bean. I'm like, I mean, what a Mubtada? You can refer to him as Mr. Bean. That's fine. Refer to him as Sheikh now, because I mean, wait, read the question again.
Instead, how do we refer to a deviant sheikh? Do we refer to him by the title of sheikh or maybe a name like Mr. B?
By his name. Refer to him by his name, but calling him Sheikh or any type of validation, we shouldn't be doing that. If you know that he's a deviant. No.
Assalamu alaikum, Ustad.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If my mom keeps telling me to do things that my siblings ask her to tell me so they don't have to, how can I handle this?
Again.
If my mom keeps telling me to do things that my siblings ask her to tell me so they don't have to, how can I handle this?
Apart from beating up your siblings, do what your mother tells you to do. And I mean, you can advise your mother, talk to your mother and say, Mom, you know, I don't mind helping you out, and I love helping you out. You're my mother. But, you know, look, they're the ones that aren't doing anything, you know. Try to have a talk. Sit down and just talk, man. You know, a lot of the people, they don't just talk with their parents, do they? You know, could you imagine how much, like, you know, why we have better relationships with our parents when we get older than we do when we're younger? Why do we have better relationships with our parents? Because we move out the house, because we mature more and we sit down and talk with them. We talk to them. Yeah, your parents are human beings, man. They're not like, what do you think? Like you got like Hitler as a parent? Come on, man. It's a human being. It's a person that loves you and cares about you. It's not trying to throw you in a concentration camp. Calm down. You know, just go and have a conversation. Sit down and talk with your mother. When I sat down and talked with my mother, that was when we started having the best relationship ever. When I was too scared to talk to her, Akhi, we had nothing but arguments and fights and kicking out the house and running away and doing this. Man, as soon as I got to the point where I'm like, man, look, me and my mother just sit down and my mother tells me, come here, sit down and let's talk. And we talk. And we never had any problems from that day on. Sit down and talk to your parents. Just talk to them. Sit down and say, Dad, you mind? Mom, do you mind? Can we turn off the TV and have a talk? And just talk to them. I guarantee you, your brothers and your siblings don't do that. And if you're the one that does that, guess who your parents are going to start listening to more? You. And then you can start telling on them and getting them in trouble, you know, getting your revenge, inshallah. You know, but don't do it for that purpose, you know. But yeah, do it for the good relationship.
Like if you have your non-Muslim family members that tell them that you love them?
Yeah, because that type of love is tabi'i. It's a natural love. It's not a love for deen. You know, I love my mother. My mother's a kafirah, but that love for her is not a love for based off of deen. It's just a love. And she's my mother. She raised me up. When I became Muslim, she accepted it. She supported it. She helped me out. When I was in Yemen, she supported it. She helped me out. You know, so I love her for those things. But I mean, as far as like love dini, no, it's not permissible. But that's natural love. You can't, that's something that you can't, it's like you don't have, this is like fear. There's a difference between fearing a lion, that type of fear, and the fear that you should have for Allah. That fear that you should have for Allah is a fear that keeps you from doing the prohibitions, that makes you want to do the things that He commanded you to do. That type of fear is only for Allah. You can't have that type of fear of obedience that brings you to obedience for any creation, anything. You only that only fear is only for Allah. If that fear, but now you talk about fearing a lion, fearing a dude with a gun pointed to your head, that's natural. It's natural to fear those things. That doesn't take you out of this fear. It doesn't put you into like shirk. you know, because that's natural fear and this is natural love. But now when it comes to the deen, then no. Like, I mean, as sad as it is, if my mother dies and she doesn't accept Islam, I'm not going to be making dua for her. I can't make dua for her. So again, there's limitations. This is just love because she's my mother, but it's still deen. Still deen. I make dua for her while she's alive. But when she dies on what she dies upon, then that's it. What can I do? You know?
Some of my Muslim friends side with the Republicans because of their stance on the OG people. Are they wrong for this?
Of course. You don't side with none of the kuffar. Because what? Because they you know, they hate the Rainbow Coalition. All right?
They hate us more.
Yeah, exactly. Those same people, if you bring up like Muslims, yeah, they hate us just as much as they hate them. So what are you concerned about? Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. We only do this type of stuff because why? We're disunited. We're not following what we're supposed to be following. We're not, you know, there's no knowledge, there's no application of the Quran and the Sunnah amongst the people, no teaching of the deen in the masajid. So now the people, they just follow this stuff. They look for any like little these little aspects of Islam in people. Nah, they're kuffar. And just like you'll find one thing that you might agree on them with, you're gonna find what? 50 other things that you're gonna disagree with them because they're kuffar. Ask them about their opinion about Jesus. Are you gonna agree with them on that? That's bigger. I don't care. Yeah, they don't support the Rainbow Coalition. Yeah, they're committing shirk billah. Are you not concerned about that? You know, you're gonna support them in that just because of their stance on this alphabet people? Nah, we don't do that. Look, we have our own beliefs. We have our own deen. We don't need to be allying with people and siding with people. We need to be the ones speaking up. And if we're the ones speaking up, then khalas. We don't speak up and we can't speak up because we got no support from amongst the ummah. If we speak up, then we've got like 15 messages, you know, not 15, probably 1,500 messages that are going to sit there and say, oh, he's extremist. Oh, he doesn't speak for us. Oh, but you're telling the truth, you know? So, I mean, we don't have no support. But if we had the support, we speak up. We have our own voices. We don't need to sit here and like side with other people who voice this and voice that. They're kuffar. They're kuffar. You know, like I said, they might say one thing that you agree with, but go ask them their opinions about Muslims or what's your opinion about, you know, whatever, Jesus or shirk or anything, and you see what their answers are. See if you still want to side with them on that.
Instead, what about investing in the stock markets of Saudi Arabia and UAE?
I wouldn't trust none of them, honestly. I wouldn't trust none of them. I told you, why would you want to invest in those countries? Again, we are suffering here in our own countries. Islam, we're so weak. Invest your money in businesses here that will benefit the Muslims here. They give jobs to the Muslims here, where they don't have to go and work with the kuffar, where they don't have to where we can take these businesses and support our own. You support the dawah, support the masajid, support centers of learning, support libraries and things that we need as Muslims. And that's where the money needs to be going. It doesn't need to be going to another country in a stock market anywhere. Again, you're putting money into other people's hands and just hoping for the best. Nah, that's not the way things go. Those are the people that are going to be getting richer, the people that are controlling your money, not you. You're not going to be getting rich. They're going to be giving you crumbs and you're going to be happy. Put your money where it's more beneficial. Take the money and and use it in something beneficial for the community that you're in. Spreading the dawah in the community that you're in. Got no libraries, Akhi. Where are the libraries? Where are the bookstores? Where are the centers of learning where the people where now we can support students to go and sit in different masajid in different areas where they got students of knowledge, where they can sit down all day long and study their religion. We don't have this. And this is what we need. But we need to have some type of economy. We've got to have money coming in to be able to start to create these things. So, I mean, this is where the money needs to go. And support of things like that. Not to support somebody's stock market.
Brightest moon is following up on previous questions. Aqidah Wasatiyah, Hamawiyah, Tadmuriyah, Bahawiyah. Is this order correct to follow?
Again?
Aqidah Wasatiyah, Hamawiyah, Tadmuriyah, Bahawiyah.
No. First off, you should do al-Qawaid al-Mufla, the Shaykh al-Uthaymeen first, because he gives you the principles on the Asma wa Sifat. Because al-Wasatiyah, half of the book is dealing, well, more than half of the book, the Metin is dealing with Asma wa Sifat, al-Asma wa Sifat. So first you study al-Qawaid al-Mufla. Then after that, then you study al-Wasatiyah. Then you sit down and you go through a Tahawiyah. Then you go through a Tadmuriyah, then a Hamawiyah, inshallah. Because Tadmuriyah is heavy. It's heavy. That's gonna make you reevaluate yourself as a human being. You know, a lot of us thought that we were smart until we picked up a Tadmuriyah and they were like, oh, woo, time to go back to ABCs, boy. Yeah, man, because it's just like books like that make you feel stupid. They make you feel real stupid.
How did the non-Arab imams reach the level of Arabic they did in the old days? And why do we not reach that level today?
Because they lived in amongst the Arabs. When the Arabs started taking control of all these countries, Arabic became the official language of all those countries. So Iran, you know, all of those dual, you know, the countries that were underneath the Furs, the Persians, their official language became Arabic. You know, that's what they studied in, that's what they taught in, that's how they learned. And they still kept their language, they still spoke their language, but their official language became Arabic. So the children started learning the Arabic language from the youngest age. Bukhari, he was raised up with the Arabic language. You know, and he's Persian. All right, and the same thing with all of the ulama from the Kutub al-Sitta except for Muslim. Now Muslim, although he was raised up in the Persian area, but his asl is Arab. But the rest of them, their origins are Persian. So that's that's the difference. Like us, we're not being raised up like you go and you see like ulama being raised up in India or Pakistan or Indonesia or Ethiopia. They're not. They have to learn the Arabic language first. So I mean, but you look at like Sheikh Muhammad ibn Adam al-Ethiopi, rahimahullah, and look at the level that he reached in the Arabic language. And he's from Ethiopia, and his knowledge of the Arabic language probably surpassed 99.9% of the Arabs on the earth at the time that he was alive. You know, and that man was highly intelligent, highly knowledgeable of the Arabic language, to the point where the Arabs would have to ask him, you know, what things mean. So he has to explain it to them. So it's about the peace, but he was raised up with that. He was raised up in centers of learning amongst ulama in his balad. And then by the time that he went to Saudi Arabia, he was already a sheikh. He'd already learned all that, you know, he'd already studied all the books of Nahu, memorized the poetry, you know, so that's how they got to that level. They didn't speak their language. But now you go to Pakistan and you're gonna see what? You're gonna see the shuyukh, they're teaching in Urdu. They're not even teaching in Arabic. The people aren't being raised up in the Arabic language. You go to Indonesia and the people are teaching in Bahasa Indonesia. I don't know. Jakarta is gonna have to tell us how to say it. But and the same thing here in America. We're sitting there talking in English. So, but they didn't do that. All their education was in Arabic language, and they started studying all these books from a young age. So you'll see like all the people that came up and where look at Jorjani, Sibawayh was not even Arab, you know, and all the big imams of the Arabic language, they're not Arabs. Go back and read their Tarajim. Go back and read about Al-Farra, Al-Nahas, and all these individuals that were like imams of the language, and see what their origins are. So, but also read how they grew up. They grew up where they were learning poetry, memorizing poetry when they were like 8 years old, 9 years old. You know, studying poetry, learning poetry. They've already memorized the Quran. Now they're memorizing poetry. Now they're studying grammar when they're like 11. Then they perfect and finish like up their studies in grammar by the time that they're like 15. You know, they're studying, you know, so this is obviously before the days of Alfiyat ibn Malik. So you look at like the original book, Al-Kitab from Sibawayh. Go look that book up online and see how many volumes that is. That was like a basic book of Nahu in their time. Yeah, you have to be a scholar to read that book today. I had that book when I was in Yemen. I used to read through that book. Wallahi, that book used to give me nightmares, man. But I loved it so much because I mean, he goes through so many aspects of the Arabic language, and you're going back to like to the source. You know, like you're reading like this is what Sibawayh said. And inshallah, that's probably gonna be one of the next books I get, inshallah. If I get the opportunity to get some more books, Siboy, like is Al Kitab is gonna be one of the next books I get, inshallah. Get it back. I had it before, but I want to get it back again, inshallah. But that's how they were raised up. We're not raised up like that. We're raised up lazy. We don't like 20, 30 years old, still can't speak the Arabic language, haven't memorized Juz Amma. That's why we suck. I mean, that's just bottom line, man. Like there's nothing that we could brag about. You know, I remember back in the days where I used to ask a person, like, how much have you memorized from the Quran? And they're like, oh, you know, I can't tell you. That's between me and Allah. Yeah, you got nothing. There's nothing that we've done that we need to be proud of. Because trust me, if you memorize 1 or 2 Jews, there's people that memorize the Quran and the 7 forms of recitation. You haven't done nothing because you memorized 3 Jews, 4 Jews. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing. But you see how we are. Like, oh, that's between me and Allah. I don't talk about that stuff. You don't talk about it because you know that you haven't done anything. We haven't done anything really to boast or, you know, to be like, wow, mashallah. So, I mean, that's what needs to change. And, you know, the only way that that's going to change is that we have to start to spark the minds of the younger generation to want to go out and seek knowledge. You know, the generation that hasn't smoked weed, the generation that didn't drink malt liquor, the generation that's not fornicating with women, the generation, those people, when they go and they seek knowledge, akhi, with that pure heart, not full of corruption and sin, those people, alhamdulillah, they have a strong memory, and Allah blesses them to be able to retain a lot. You know, but us, I mean, we gotta, like, that's our job. We gotta motivate those people of that generation. But we still gotta do what we can do. But we have a lot of work, man. We have a lot of work, and we're just sitting there, like, you know, I don't know, sitting there staring at the walls while all this work needs to be done. So Allah musta'an.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
May Allah reward you. What is your take on attending university in the U.S. and any recommendations in
University in what?
the U.S.?
You don't do it. I mean, if you can go and study something that doesn't involve free mixing, or do the classes online where you just go in and just take the exams and leave, or you're not mixing with the people, then that's the way to go. Or what you can do. See, the thing about it is, it depends on what you're trying to do. Are you just trying to get a job just so you could have like some type of basic career, make money to support your families, maybe save up some money? Or are you trying to become like some super academic? Now, if you're just trying to get a career, go get a technical certificate or something like that in labor, some type of labor type thing, and you know, that pays well, where you know that women aren't in that field, basically. And if there is a woman in that field, she ain't much of a woman. You know, she probably got tattoos and a bald head, and you know, yeah. But yeah.
They said I'd rather seek earn full time. My parents are against it. One reason is because I haven't figured out what to make from.
See, the reality about seeking knowledge full time, and I'm going to tell you, if you go overseas to seek knowledge, especially when you're talking about at different marakas, you know, if you have support from people, it's a lot easier. If you don't have support from people, which is what we had to go through, and it's really, really hard. And then if you don't have any education or any type of certificates or anything that you can, like, let's just say you get broke sometimes. This happens to all students of knowledge. You get broke, you got to go work. What are you going to do overseas? You're going to have to come all the way back to America to work to save money. You know, so what you want to do is you want to try to avoid it. I was able to stay in Yemen for 15 years because that's what I did. You know, that's what I did. I got a skill, which was, you know, learning how to like teach English when nobody could teach it. Like, and then whenever I was broke, I go teach English. That's it. Get some money, feed my family, take care of my family, and keep doing what I got to do. Buy some books and then keep on moving on with my life. But like I say, you have to have something because it's not easy if you don't have support. You don't have support. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not easy. It's not easy. There's a lot of things like, you know, if I could go back and talk to myself over again, and there's a lot of things I would have done differently, you know, but.
Did a lot of people do that? Come back to America to get money and then go back?
Yeah. Well, most of the times when they come back to America, they don't go back. They get stuck in America. America's a trap, akhi. It's hard to save money in America, you know, because once you come back here, you got so many bills. You know, if you're older and you're not, I mean, if you're living with your mother or something like that, and you're just helping your mother out with the bills, and okay, it's easy. But if you got your own apartment, you're paying rent, you're paying electric bill, water bill, phone bill. You know, you got to have internet in your house because, you know, whatever, you know, you got to keep in contact with people and things, everything's happening online. So you got to have internet, which is probably the cheapest of the bills. But Akhi, you got so many bills here, man. You know, and then what are you going to do? What type of work? So you literally have to work. If you wanted just to come back to save money and go back and seek knowledge, you take like a year and you're going to try to get a job or 2 jobs or whatever, where you're working like 60 hours a week or more, 60 to 80 hours a week, just so you can save money. But guess what happens within that year? You were out seeking knowledge, but now you're working like, you know, 80 hours a week to save money. How much do you think that you're going to retain of that information, of everything that you study? So by the time that you save money and you get back to seeking knowledge again, you have to go back and get back everything again. You got to like start all over again. You know, you've basically forgotten everything. Because again, I mean, the setup, like Akhi, wallahi, the setup here in the West is horrible. Students of knowledge coming back and they have to go get jobs. I mean, that's just the reality. But that's what's happening. I mean, imagine like you go overseas and you sit there and you study overseas, you come back here. Akhi, I had to do labor work when I first came back to America. I was working 2 jobs. I was working like every day except for one day off, no, Friday. That's it. Friday was my only day off. I come home 9 o'clock, 9:30, see my kids, take a shower, go to sleep. That's it. You know, what type of life is that? Then how much did I forget? You know, start to forget the Quran, start making mistakes, start doing, you know, it's horrible, man. But that's the reality of what goes on. And that was when before I did that interview with Sajid, that's why Sajid did the interview, because Sajid was like, man, you went overseas and you studied and this is what they got you doing. I said, nah, man, let's try to do something. Let's get you, you know, teaching or doing something online, because I was just nothing. Just work. But that's what happens. Now, I'm not going to sit back and come back here and say, oh, I studied and you have to give me a job in the masjid. I come back here, I get a job. I started applying for jobs right away. You know, I saw that was not going to happen. I said, I'll get it. If something happens, I get coming to Imam in the masjid later, class, alhamdulillah. But otherwise, I'm going to work. It's not a joke, man. You know, the situation is not good to come back to in the West as like a student of knowledge. And that's why most of the students of knowledge, they don't want to come back here. And who's missing out? Who suffers because of this? Huh? No, the people. You got all these students of knowledge now that studied, that graduated from the university or studied in Damascus. They don't want to come back here because of the situation, because they know they're going to have to come back here and get a job, work in a warehouse, work in construction. And what did they study for? So they come back here and forget everything? No, they're going to stay over there and continue seeking knowledge until they die. And then the losers here are the people. The people are not going to benefit. And then what do? They get these you know, crackheads from, you know, Azhar and all these people becoming the imams of the masjid, teaching them all this type of garbage, giving them, you know, khutbahs about Garfield and friends, you know, and all this type of foolishness. Akhi, come on, man. You know, Al Jazeera, what I saw on Al Jazeera yesterday. Huh? What's that? Oh, the Titanic. I forgot. Yeah, he did give a khutbah about the Titanic, didn't he? Wallah, he did. And I don't know, man. Maybe you guys were falling asleep that day. Y'all were in the masjid when he gave the khutbah about the Titanic.
Oh.
Who said this? Hamid. What's that? Oh, he's there. Is he going to send us some food from here? Huh? Yeah, tell him the brother that comes in August, tell him to bring the food from the restaurant, man.
Mr. Fresno, they gave it the Titanic?
No, in Badr.
When was this?
This was before Asad got sick, I think. Yeah, but y'all were there. You two and Hamza, y'all were there. Because we were laughing about the khutbah. We're like, you know, me, Abdul Malik, we all talking about it when we left. This was about the time when Hamza was buying those books, the books on poetry. I think he just got them in the mail.
I kind of remember it, but I don't remember what he said.
Hey, he was talking about the Titanic, I think.
I remember it.
And then me and Abdul Malik, we went back to the car. I'm like, man, did this dude actually give a khutbah about the Titanic? Are you serious? Are you serious? Like, and he was probably, what, are you watching the movie? Like, what prompted you to put that? Like what devil told you that came to you at 3 o'clock in the morning and told you that this was a good idea? You know?
Since he was saying that they were saying that this boat is indestructible and it can't be taken down, and so that
Yeah, but they don't. Yeah, but they don't go. And that's why I was laughing with Abdul Malik about. I was like, this idiot doesn't know the true history about nothing, does he? He just believes everything that he sees in movies, man. Yeah, you remember it now, don't you? Yeah. This guy, what's up?
topic الجبل كان يجيب يعني يعني معقول يعني جميل كيف جو سامع كان يفتح خلي يعني فتاه
What?
انه الله خلق السماء في البحر يعني كيف ينزل في العمق ما يتحكم يعني شده الماء السفن ما يصير ينزل بعمقهم يعني هذا يعني معقول يعني شيء جميل بس يعني مش كان يحتاج
Nah, أنا سأتكلم بعدين إن شاء الله. Any other questions before we go, man? Because it's getting late. I gotta feed my son, man.
Well, I have no degrees or certificates. I want to get out of the USA and stay gone. However, I don't see what to do without a degree, but I don't want to waste my time with it.
I mean, look, I went out, I didn't graduate high school. And I managed to stay in Yemen for 15 years. And I stayed in Saudi Arabia for 6 years. The last job that I had to make money, because we didn't have any money to leave the country, and I ended up getting a job that was connected to Aramco. I have no high school diploma. How I got that job is all by the fadl of Allah. So, I mean, if you go out and you're seeking knowledge for the sake of Allah, you're trying to stay in a Muslim country, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make a way for you. But, you know, you have to be strong, akhi, because the type of stuff that we had to go through is painful. It's super, super painful. We had to go through, like I said, extreme poverty. We had to go through wars. We had to go through everything. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always made a way out for us. Always made a way out for us. And when it was time for us to come back here, there was no more way outs. That's it. We had to come back. It is what it is. You know, so this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote. But that whole time that we were there, we always. There was never a day, even when I was super hungry, but we always had something to eat. Might not have been the best food, and we lost a lot of weight and we had a lot of sicknesses and illnesses and all this, but we always had something. When we were in Saudi Arabia, we had a very bad situation because we were illegal for the whole 6 years that we were in Saudi Arabia. So I couldn't get a good job in Saudi Arabia because every job that I got, it had to be under the table. And the whole time that I was in Saudi Arabia, I ended up having to work more than the other people because just to feed my family. So, I had to work 14 hours a day at one point just to get the average salary of what the normal American brothers were making. So, but that's the reality. If that's the stuff that you're ready to go through, then do it. Do it. Don't wait. Don't sit around here and wait, But like I said, you gotta be ready. You have to be ready to get hit in the head, kicked in the face, kicked in the other place that we're not going to say if you're a man. You know where I'm talking about, that nice area that you don't like to be kicked in. Yeah, you're going to be kicked there like at least 15 times a day. And then you're just going to have to just, suck it up and keep moving. And just keep moving and just keep moving. And then, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make a way out for you. But like I said, it's you and your mindset. If you have a weak mindset, I do not advise you. I'm not trying to break people, man. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell the people, when I grew up, I was a child. You got to keep in mind, I was a young kid, and I read like all the diaries of Che Guevara, right? And not to quote, obviously he's a filthy kafir. May Allah curse him and give him what he deserves. But this is what I grew up on. So when I came to Islam, I was already a Muslim when I was reading this, but when I started learning about going to Yemen, that in my mind, that's what I was doing. I was living out these books the stuff that I used to read about, Che Guevara, going to Cuba, going to Mexico, going to Africa, fighting in Africa, and then going to Bolivia. This is in my mind, that's what I was living out. And I enjoyed every second of it, until I got married and then I had a family. Then it got very painful because now you're not just responsible for yourself. You're responsible for your wife, your children, so now you got to start thinking. You can't be like haphazard. You have to be very calculated in everything that you do. But that's what I'm saying, the mindset of the person. That was my mindset doing that. I was ready to sleep on the floor, eat dirty beans, have dirt in the food and, scorpions in the house and all that. I was ready for that. Those were the stories that I heard. And that every time that I heard those stories about Yemen, it just made me want to go there even more. Because back in those days, we didn't have the internet. There was no internet. So we can only get stories from people. And half of those stories from people were garbage. They were like, Chinese mythology type stories, you know, like Kung Fu Master flying around and all that. These are the types of stories that we were hearing, but we believed them. We thought that this was true, you know, and we're going to, you know, to live this, you know, we're going to sleep with scorpions and snakes and, you know, and hyenas, you know, and we're going to live out in the mountains in the desert and walk barefooted on thorns. You know, but that's the mindset that we had going. We're ready to undertake that, whatever we had to do. But a lot of people, they don't have that mindset. For them, I don't want to advise them because it's not easy, man. It's not easy. It's very, very difficult. You know, I look back on it and like me, I'm not a strong person. I was always a weak-minded person. I don't know how I had the strength to do the things that I did and what I did and how to be patient. I know that only came from Allah.